Good morning and welcome to Sunday Breakfast right here on Channel 1 TV with me, Eno Safo. Per usual, you can find me across all social media platforms with the handle at Eno_S. It's going to be an amazing show today, a very packed one. You know, we have health, we have a bit of nutrition, and so much more for you. So stick and stay. It will be an interesting show. The show is always live and interactive, so you can send us your WhatsApp messages to the number 0204 447 033. 0204 447 033. Alternatively, use the hashtag Sunday Breakfast on our social media platforms, and I'll read your messages on the show. Remember, we're asking you to eat Ghana rice, locally made in Ghana rice, because when you do, you are promoting Ghanaian food. You're also feeding a farmer and his entire generation somewhere in Ghana where they grow rice. So eat Ghana rice. Let's build our country. Let's build our economy. Let's make our economy stronger. All right. There's also Heritage Caravan 2025, which completely is sold out, unfortunately. It was sold out in a few hours. And sorry if you did not, get a ticket to Heritage Caravan. We apologize for that. It was completely sold out. So from the 1st to the 8th of March 2026, we're going around the country in a caravan. We're visiting about 14 regions. How many regions? 14 regions. We're going to go to the north. I have heard somewhere in the grapevine that this year we're doing 2 days up north. So in the northern parts of Ghana, we're doing 2 days there and 2 days in the west. Okay, so 2 days in the western region. So yeah, it's going to be a fun caravan, 10 years of serving you and taking you around the country. It's going to be amazing. Completely amazing. And so if you missed out, we apologize for that. I always say that the Heritage Caravan is an experience, and I'm glad that I went on it last year. You get to meet so many people from all walks of life. You get to experience unannounced dance competitions when your bus stops on the way. You get to eat amazing food. You get to connect with people. And most importantly, you get to see different cultures, see what Ghana is all about. And this year promises to be even more interesting because of the 10th anniversary. And so I'm sure it's going to be amazing. It's going to be amazing that you get to join us on the Heritage Caravan. You can see different shots of the Heritage Caravan on your screen. This is a visit to the Red Clay Studio, where we went to dance and experience what the Red Clay Studio is all about. It was amazing, and we had live band music from Inchinchim. And which better band than Inchinchim to keep you on your feet dancing? And so this was fascinating to see. And the Red Clay has amazing stuff. It reminded me of museums outside the country where you can get to interact with the artists who come around, and you get to see all of that. The Mole National Park was also another enclave that we visited, and it was simply amazing to see wildlife in their natural habitat doing what they know how to do, and we standing at a safe distance away from them. So it was an experience, and it was fun to experience that as well. So yeah, Heritage Caravan 2026 completely sold out within less than 5 hours. I hear completely sold out in less than 5 hours. This is the 10th edition. It's going to be amazing. If you missed out, don't worry. We'll show you what happens when we return. But if you follow Channel 1 TV and City FM, there'll be snippets of it or of the experience that we are having on the caravan throughout the entire 8 days, from the 1st of March to the 8th of March 2026. We will be on the caravan, but you'll definitely hear of what's happening, where the caravanites are, where the patrons have reached, and exactly what they're doing, both on CNR and any of our major bulletins or any of our major shows on both TV and radio. It is something that you cannot afford to miss. Producers, do you have sponsors yet, or I should call for sponsors? So if you want to sponsor the Heritage Caravan, because I can tell you this, if you do sponsor, you might go. And is it a promise? Because I know we do take some of our sponsors along to experience the caravan. So come and sponsor. That is the only way. If you missed out on tickets, if you sponsor, you will definitely get a chance to go. And beyond sponsoring just the 2026 Heritage Caravan, we play the interviews, we play the videos throughout the year till the next caravan. And so whatever you pay for, I promise you, it's worth it, because aside the fact that you're on the caravan, advertising your goods to patrons and to each city or each region that we visit, because when we get there, you'll mount your stands and your flyers and whatever. Beyond that, it's played on TV for a whole year. A whole year. And, you know, your interviews that we do with you while on the caravan are also played. Patrons are wearing your T-shirts on specific days. That one is shown on TV. So for a whole year, you get extra free ads. You people should bill them for that, by the way. So if you didn't get a chance to buy space on the caravan, maybe you should consider coming to sponsor it, because then you can get a chance to be on the Heritage Caravan. This was one of our, I think, first stops after Accra. We were in the Volta region, where we got to experience a food festival. And the food, I can tell you, was simply amazing. Those that like their work plans and their what's plans and all of that. It was interesting to see. And like I said, 1st March to the 8th of March. If you missed out, there are chances for you if only you become a sponsor. So yeah, you can come and sponsor Heritage Caravan 2026, and it will be all good for you.
Good morning.
Morning, how are you?
I'm thriving. I thrive. I hope you're also well.
I'm very well, thank you.
I'm doing well by the grace of God. Yeah, and I saw you yesterday.
Saw me?
Yeah, you were having a good time.
Oh, of course. It's very necessary.
To be fair, I saw you on other people's snap before I saw you. Yeah, you know, this is what you can't hide again. You know, you can't hide. Sometimes you think you're in your corner doing your own thing, then somebody else, you're on somebody's life.
Wow.
So I'm happy for you. Like you had fun yesterday. Next time, take me along.
Oh.
Yeah.
I didn't think you'd be available.
You can't assume.
True.
Anyway, the same way you abandoned me for the Heritage Caravan.
Oh, yeah, Sembe and Crane, yeah.
I see that you're exhibiting similar traits, but that's fine. So this food they serve it on the Heritage Caravan?
Yes.
Oh.
This is the Volta Fair.
Yeah.
So, yes, Volta gave us a fair, and we experienced food, local food from the Volta
Isn't that
region.
too much meat on somebody's food?
But the meat is available, but there's more meat. There's more meat. When the meat is available, why not?
Hey, is how you put doing the caravan?
You know the funny thing? Shortly after this, we went to our hotel and went for dinner.
So this wasn't even like
no, this
advertised.
Is not dinner.
This is not like.
This was not actually part of.
What you? So it was out of the
Volta Regional Minister.
I think his name is James Gunu.
Yes,
Honorable
Gunu.
James
Honorable Gunu. Yes.
So he just out of his goodwill did this.
Yes, it wasn't part of our stops. I mean, like, you know, what caravanites paid for, but this is the experience they paid for. So this is an experience they were given. So shortly after this, we went to our hotel, and then we got to eat again lunch, and we got serenaded by.
It explains why people come and buy tickets 5 hours, you know, Because you don't get this. You don't get this anywhere, right?
No, you won't.
Wow.
You definitely won't get this anywhere.
Wow. So we are open for sponsorship.
Oh,
That's
yes.
what it is.
That's what it is. So I'm saying that if you didn't get a chance to purchase a slot or a seat on the caravan, there's always a chance to be a sponsor because we take our sponsors along. Not everybody in the company, but a few of them.
We are advertising it. Oh, come on.
So you come, you find out how much it is to sponsor. And I'm saying even beyond the caravan, you get to advertise in the various regions and the various stops that we go to because they always mount up their flagpoles and all of that. And even beyond that, it's played for a whole year till the next caravan. So aside sponsoring the caravan, you get free ad for a year, free ads in different regions.
Sounds like oh, that's my man Egypt.
Yes, Fragoma. Yes.
Sounds like an interesting,
So it's a win-win situation.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I just want to say that a big, well done to the team here at City FM and Channel 1 TV. It's not really easy putting this together. People forget that the people who run the show actually have like jobs that they do, right? It's not like they only exist to do Heritage Caravan. There's so much more that they do. So for example, if you take Fremredu Nyame, right? She anchors the news here. She's head of events. Of course, this is a big event we do. But like there's so much more that she has going. So we wish her well. And of course the team as well. Anyway, I don't know if you want to delve into the newspapers now. Yes, so a lot is happening in the news, right? I think the biggest story from last week was the transport issue, which I'm sure later in the show we'll delve into. But elsewhere, citynewsroom.com is reporting that NDC does not take your votes for granted. That's coming from the party's national chairman, Johnson Esiedun Ketia. Also big here, Ghana risks global embarrassment over planned protest. UK-based PhD students have been lamenting. Now, CATS International calls for Accra City Transport Authority as commuter crisis deepens. Wow, have you ever thought of that?
Say that again.
An authority purposely for urban, transport needs.
I feel like it's going to be another sitting duck, because how many offices do we have, and are they even functioning as they're supposed to function?
Yeah, I've always been saying that we don't demand a lot from our local assemblies. There's so much they should be doing, including like mobility concerns, addressing traffic flow. They are responsible for street lights in some parts, but it's like all the time when assemblies come up, it is sanitation that we are thinking about, and we neglect the other very important issues. Anyway, so CATS International is proposing an Accra City Transport Authority as commuter crisis deepens. Also here, choose candidates who can win power in 2028. Ashanti Regional Chairman of the NPP tells delegates. Over 300 structures destroyed as fire displaces 700 slum dwellers. Still on the NPP upcoming presidential primaries, Brian Champon says he's the only one who can unite NPP for victory. Government assures minimal disruption as WAPCO undertakes planned maintenance. Brian Champon again in the news, he says NPP flag bearer aspirants must accept defeat and stay united. The National Road Safety Authority says speeding, drink driving behind 18.5% surge in road fatalities. And Harry Idrisu didn't approve gender identity content. That's coming in from the Education Ministry. To some other news, in the Eastern region, 5 Chinese nationals arrested for galamsey. Vice President Nana Akufo-Addo and Chief Justice hold talks on improving judicial efficiency. The court has remanded a laborer for allegedly threatening to kill the mother. And in the Central region, Presby Stewards remains missing from mortuary. Really, really serious issues over there.
Missing from the mortuary?
Yeah, can you imagine?
Wow.
Possibly could be a case of like misplaced identity.
Probably.
I don't want to believe it is for it's deliberate. You know, but this country to that people like to fight for dead bodies. You know, there's a tree proverb that suggests the busia. Anyway, so and finally here, new Chibi Zongo chief vows to tackle poor sanitation, and these are the big stories on citynewsroom.com.
All right. I'm on channel1newsonline.com. Some of the stories you'll find there. Focus on winning 2028, not sentiments. Wontumi to NPP delegates. Other stories, over 300 wooden structures destroyed as fire hits Afonkwanta slum. Other stories, Franklin Kujo, headless NPP lost in center rights ideology. All right, other stories, 5 Chinese arrested over illegal mining along Birim River. 5 Chinese arrested over illegal mining along Birim River. Why do they cover their face? Anyway, Brian Achampong questions impact of government's agric policies. Brian Achampong, he's questioning the impact of government's agric policies. If you come down to the trending stories, some of the stories there, Kutsinu Adjoachi to get new chips compounds as assembly cuts soared. Navigating music industry is hard for women. Creative executives are saying so. On the chat with Ecole Kumsin, some of the stories from that high life is our heritage. We're taking it into classrooms, that's according to the Musica president. Neglect of youth mental health could spark national crisis. Experts are warning. Urban transport crisis. Analyst demands firm regulation. And police religious leaders encouraged to deepen cooperation for stability. Don't attempt to bribe police officers, IGP warns. Africa Magic calls for entries for 12th AMVCA. And stay energized and pain-free. Nutrition tips for your menstrual period.
Eno, let me take you to GhanaNewsAgency.org. Ghana places first order for multi-mission Airbus helicopters. Also here, government will provide high occupancy vehicles to ease transport challenges. That's coming from the Vice Presidency, the Vice President, Her Excellency, Professor Nana Jane Opoku Ajeman. To some more stories, gold for reserves losses should be in the national budget. That's coming in from the IMF. Ex-Maxlock CEO Sedinam Tamaklo detained in USA over extradition request. To some other stories here, 2026 is a year of consolidation and disciplined markets. That's coming from the Bank of Ghana Governor, Dr. Johnson Pandit Isiama. To some other stories, employers prioritize degree holders in Ghana. That's a report on the economy published by the Ghana News Agency. And Eno, when was the last time you saw the 20 peso coin?
I actually have one.
Really?
Yeah. What I haven't seen in a while is 1 peso.
No, 1 peso. If you go to like the big moving supermarkets, right?
Okay.
You know, when you buy something that is like $9.99. You know, that kind of 951, that kind of, you know, they give you the 1 peso. Yeah, but that's true. That's rare.
Yeah, a friend of mine wanted to collect the coins, so that's what they do. Every country they go to, they collect coins.
Yeah.
So I was looking for 1 peso for him. I couldn't
Did you
get
do
one.
5 pesos?
Yes.
That one they are here. You know.
Oh, it be I have the 5 peso as well.
I have a 10 peso.
I have a 10 peso. What I don't have is a 1 peso. So I'm out for a 1 peso.
But I think the most common is the 2 CDs.
Yes.
And the 1 CD.
And the 1 CD. That one, we still use it. It's amazing how we don't use our coins.
It's also the structure of the economy.
Apparently, people reject it.
Exactly. The 2 CD note, is it still there?
There was a 2 CD note? Oh, yeah. No, I actually haven't seen that in years. Well, it's been I haven't seen that.
So
wow.
I think the previous BOG administration tried to phase out the 2 CD note.
Okay.
Then at the start of this government, it came back to the system. But I don't remember seeing it.
No, I don't remember the last time.
But see, you're not the best person to ask because you don't
because
chop,
I seen it 20%.
You don't chop small money.
I chop what?
Big, you don't chop small money.
Please, I chop small
You
money.
chop big money.
I
You do
nyabote.
100 cities and
Before
200
someone
cities.
gets the impression, I chop small money, please. Don't give small money chance. You haven't heard that
the 2
before.
CD notes, no, it's not in the system again.
I haven't seen that. I haven't seen
But
the
the 1
2
CD
notes.
notes, even yesterday
Yes, the
I
1
had
CD
some.
notes, yes.
But even now, it seemed as though it was being phased out.
Why would they do that?
I have no idea.
Or they want us to use that, rely on the coin.
Probably. I know. Anyway, so a report by Ghana News Agency suggests that the use of the 20 peso coin declines in Accra. To be fair, what can 20 pesos buy? Nothing on its own.
It doesn't buy water anymore?
Nope.
Hey.
Water is 50 pesos.
Wow.
As in like pure water.
Yeah,
sachet.
pure water sachet. It's not 20 pesos.
No, 50 pesos.
Hey. That's it. Really?
Yeah, so maybe
So
on
I'm trying to figure out, 20 pesos can't buy toffee, like mint. You know those Tom them things. It can't buy mint.
So now what they do is that like they sell maybe 3 or 4 for like 1 CD. Instead of, it's a business strategy. So instead of selling 1 for maybe 20 pesos, they'll sell 4 for 60 pesos. So you're tempted to buy more, so anyway, I'll bring you excerpts of this story because I'm interested in finding out why it's declined.
Okay.
I don't know if you have any other headlines.
Yeah, I want us to do graphiconline.com quickly, and then we can delve into the stories. So some of the stories on Graphic Online. Tension mounts at a Chima Crosso over sale of Royal Cemetery. Interior Ministry extends gun amnesty deadline to January 30, 2026. Residents demand action on abandoned Salaga Kumdik Pandai Road. Cape Coast and surrounding areas to experience 5-hour planned power outage on January 20. Trump threatens new tariffs on countries opposed to Greenland. Other stories, 2 in court over fire in Oyarifa apartment. Public transport challenges government to deploy more buses. In Pandai, in Kanchana Nursing Training College battles infrastructure deficits. And in Tamale, firefighters contain container shop blaze. And residents demand action. Okay, I've read that. TDC, Traditional Council Youth Dialogue over Meridian Hotel site.
Has it been a dry January?
Has it been?
A dry January.
Not for me.
I can tell, and I'm happy. Long may it remain.
Amen.
The BBC, and onto some foreign headlines very briefly. The BBC have an interesting piece on what it describes as the dry January effect. People usually say a lot of bills come up in January, so you don't have money for like other kinds of like spending. All of that is captured very beautifully in that piece. But to some other headlines, right? Trump tariff threat over Greenland unacceptable. European leaders say, comes with a photograph of some Greenlanders who are up protesting, the president of the USA's comment about possible, buying of Greenland. To some other stories, Iran's supreme leader acknowledges thousands killed during recent protests. And also here, there's a story on Uganda's 81-year-old president, Yoweri Museveni's 7th term, and what it means for Uganda. By the way, Bobby Wine, who was arrested, by some military officials, has come out to say he's escaped detention and has called on his supporters to peacefully protest. Can you imagine ruling a country since 1986, and still being on? And apparently his wife is a minister of education, his daughter is like a governor, his son is the commander of the military. Like, why do we do this to ourselves?
Remember, we say that we need to find out what is there that is so sweet that they
It's
just
obvious.
can't.
Like, every single thing is taken care of by the state. You live a life of, you live a life of constant luxury, and it's not even like they are doing anything significantly to improve the lives of their citizens. I don't know. I don't stay in Uganda, but I can't say. And this has brought to the fore again in many ways calls for or appreciation of the legacy of President Rawlings, right? Because I've seen people say that for the kind of popularity he had, in the 2000s, the early 2000s. You know, his singular decision to say, I'm not going to do this again. I'm giving way to, you know, constitutional rule. It goes under the radar. It doesn't get talked about enough. Of course, he had the clout at the time to have done what a lot of his contemporaries, you know, on the African scene were doing, even though I disagree in some parts. But hey, to think that somebody is still ruling, you know, it makes no sense whatsoever. And for me, I struggle to understand how well-meaning Ugandans, for example, wholeheartedly support Museveni. Maybe we should get a political analyst to speak to us on the dynamics, right? Because what will make an 81-year-old attractive to you? Maybe he's improved their standard of living in ways those of us not in the country can. But my point is that, is he the only Ugandan who can do that? You know, and in a lot of ways, it's an indictment on Museveni's legacy and leadership, that after all these years, 40 years in power, you don't have somebody, you know, who can succeed you and still, you know, keep the country at a certain level that he would desire. Anyway,
you want to bring us a coin story?
Yeah, there's a final headline I wanted to read. You know, there's an ongoing Minneapolis protest over ICE.
Yes.
That's the Immigration and Custom Enforcement. Exactly. A lot of citizens and residents there are not happy. And finally, it looks like Canada is looking more to the east now, you know, following their newfound love or relationship with China. And there's an article on what the BBC describes as from surge in patriotism to fewer U.S. trips, Trump's impact on Canada. So all of these big and interesting articles on the BBC. If you are interested, you can log on and read them. Yeah, no, you were saying something.
Yeah, I was saying you should bring us the coin story.
Yes, let me start off with the Ghana News Agency article on what they say is the decline in the use of the 20 pesewa coin in Accra. Now, story by Nanaya Osafo Kantanka. Residents and traders along La Police Road and parts of Okodan in Accra are facing difficulties as the 20 pesewa coin disappears from daily transactions. Although the coin remains a legal tender, its use in small purchases has become increasingly challenging, causing inconvenience to both residents and traders. Residents said spending the 20 pesewa coin had become difficult, with many traders refusing to accept it due to low demand from customers and transport operators. The story goes on to say, Miss Lydia Bedu, a resident of La Police Road, recounted that after receiving the 20 pesewa coins as change for buying cassava and condo, 3 different shops rejected the coin when she attempted to use them. She said shop owners explained that the customers no longer accept the coins, adding that the situation has created tension among customers, traders, and transport operators. Now, there's a quote. What should have been a simple purchase became stressful. I was left with money I couldn't use. Some traders insist they are not rejecting the coins out of personal choice, but due to pressures from customers and transport operators, she said. Mr. Cedric Owusu, a trader along the La Police Road, said shop owners were sometimes compelled to reject the coins because customers often paid with large amounts, sometimes up to 20 cedis entirely in the 20 pesewa coins. Okay, he said that such payments slowed service and prompted complaints from customers, noting that the challenge had intensified around mid-2025 when fuel price increases led to customers to refuse the coins as change. So it goes on and on and on. So, there's I feel like people sometimes also feel like handling a lot of the coins is bulky, right? It's difficult to handle. Imagine dressed up in suit and walking and you have like 50 cedis worth of coins in your pocket. That's a lot of noise, right? So sometimes those are my hesitations in carrying coins. So I rather keep them in some kunku, you know. And for other people, I don't know why they reject them, but according to the story, they say when people buy and like they buy things from traders and the traders are now giving them back as change, they don't want it. So you get a sense that people would rather want to conveniently and easily carry cash. And then there's a whole new trend of carry money digitally.
Yeah,
Right.
but I thought we were promoting a cashless economy.
Exactly. So
yeah.
that could be the fallout from it. Because I know people who now don't carry any money on them at all. Zero. And I sometimes ask them, like, we've not reached there yet.
True, we
fall in
haven't.
trouble. Like, you struggle. You need to balance it.
Yeah.
But for some reason, they are thriving. All they have is their Momo, and even their card is on their phone.
Yeah, so you just tap
They
and
just
pay.
tap it and they pay.
Have we reached there? Like, I know not all shops have the tap and pay cards, machines, POSs. So him not carrying cash around
It's
at
serious.
all.
In fact, this person I'm talking about doesn't even have a Momo, and he's in the country. It's not like he's.
He doesn't have a Momo.
No.
Okay, there are people who don't have Momo.
Exactly. So tap and pay.
But what if you get somewhere and the tap and pay is not working?
Yeah. So I think then you can use a short code to connect your bank to your.
That's a long process.
Yeah, but people are living. So of course it's a class thing, right? There are places where you go and do. They can't go to some places in.
So someone like that, if someone asks them for money, they can't get you.
Yeah.
I mean, unless they transfer.
Exactly. So it's really about what works for you, And for some traders, it doesn't work for them. It makes their
So elsewhere, before you even see a 50 note, it's the
like
person
the
has
UK.
had to go to the bank or something.
Yeah.
Even in the US, you see
$20.
The person has to go to the bank to withdraw because they're using their coins.
A lot. And they also use a lot of digital transactions.
Yeah.
So it's a cashless society in its truest sense. Anyway, I want to hear from our lovely viewers out there, right?
Why don't you like our coins?
Like, are you part of the people who reject the coins? What are your hesitations, right? I hear people say you don't keep the money, or sometimes it's too dirty, so many reasons.
When I was a child and you give me coins, ooh, I would love you. I love coins. I don't know whether it was the jingle or the weight in my hand. I always thought that coins were worth more than actual paper. So yeah, that was me as a kid. So I like coins. Even now, I still like coins, but that doesn't mean I bring me coins.
Anyway, so guys, the number is on your screen. Text into the show. Tell us, your hesitations, if you have any. Are you part of the people rejecting the coins? What can the central bank do to improve, the use of it? Are you part of Team Cashless Society, always using your Momo around? Now even truck drivers accept.
They accept
Momo. I kid you not.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, especially the meat. So the meat to accept the Momo.
You and I should go and do one of our shows in a truck.
So
speak
guys,
to
I'd
Ghanaians
love to
and
hear
their
from
opinions.
you
That'll be fun.
on your thoughts on this. Anyway, so I don't know if you have any other story for us.
Well, I wanted to do the 300 wooden structures destroyed
Please do.
as fire hits Afon Kwanta slum in the Ashanti region. A bit of the story reads, more than 700 residents of Afon Kwanta in the Oforokrom municipality of the Ashanti region have been displaced after a fire swept through wooden structures used as homes, predominantly by headquarters and scrap dealers. The blaze, which began at around 4:30 p.m. on Saturday, destroyed an estimated 300 to 400 structures. According to fire officials, many of the affected buildings housed groups of squatters. Fire officers faced significant challenges accessing the area, compounded by a mob that obstructed their efforts to reach the scene. The acting Asukwa Municipal Fire Commander, ADO1, Ebenezer Graham, told City News we received a distress call around 4:16 p.m. and immediately departed with our appliance. But on arrival, the access route to the area was difficult, and our team faced a mob attack. The structures gutted are about 300 to 400. Afon Kwanta has a history of fire outbreaks with similar incidents recorded in 2016 and 2020. Previous fires in the area have also displaced numerous residents and destroyed properties. The story is on channel1newsonline.com, and there are pictures attached to the story. I told you that we can save our script, and all we may have to change is just the location. Did a fire happen in Accra earlier this month?
They did.
And
the traders not lament and call on government to come
and help them.
Did the fire service not come and say they didn't have water in their tank? They did. People just start looting when the fire happened. They did. Just say, pepe. Oh, God.
And this was a slum, just a different location in Kumasi. In the same month of January. I tell you, let's just solve our scripts. All we need to do, change dates, change location, maybe the person speaking, and we're good to go.
Unbelievable. Anyway, I think that's what time will allow us for in terms of our news review. If you have any story you want to follow up on, kindly just go online, citynewsroom.com, Channel One News. If it's big enough, we have it.
Yeah.
If you don't have it, it means that it's not
that
worth
means
your
it's
attention.
not news.
No, Charlie, yeah, correct. You're in the spirit. Anyway, so it's now time for us to go to an interesting conversation, you had with Reverend Benny.
Oh, yes.
Exactly, on why hard work, may not be enough, and why it's also very important. So, guys, let's take a look at this when we are back. There's a lot more right here on Sunday Breakfast.
Welcome back. This is Sunday Breakfast right here on Channel One TV with me, Inu Safo. We're going into a conversation with Reverend Bernie Osagia. He's a reverend and a counselor. Remember when they used to say working hard is equal to progress or more money? And you're working hard in these days, yet the thing, they come. As a reverend is here to help us understand that and why this conversation is necessary, very important. In the context that we find ourselves. Reverend, you're welcome.
Thank you.
How are you doing?
I'm doing well, thank you. How about you?
I'm very well, thank you.
Good.
Why is this particular conversation important right now?
So in my line of work, not just as a Reverend Minister, but consulting, I do a lot around leadership and performance consulting, aside of HR and customer experience. And because of that, I work a lot with teams for my own company, for organizations that we work for, and for various leaders across various levels within organizations. One of the things that is very common is a lot of people believe so much that just work hard and you keep growing up. But I've come to realize that effort without strategy will end up in exhaustion. You end up very exhausted. You end up very frustrated because here you're working hard with expectations. Exactly as you introduced that if you work hard, the money will flow, the rewards will come. But it is possible to work hard but work wrong.
Right.
Few weeks ago, I was in a kind of engagement with an organization and its leadership where one gentleman was called in. His role was in a particular department within the organization. He ended up actually doing a lot of very hard work, but totally away from why he was there. And guess what? It wasn't a very pleasant conversation.
So you can put in a lot of effort, but you'll be moving in a complete...
You can work very hard, but work wrong. That is why it's important that everywhere you are, you need to manage what expectations people have of you, especially the people who pay you, the people who are managing you, the people who are supervising your work, and whatever contributions you make. So hard work is not enough anymore. It is very important that if you are within the corporate circles, you're playing it right. If you are within, the structures of your organization, work hard, but of course have a strategy. And that is very important. And as we're beginning the year, it's important to have conversations like this. The kind of systems and the structures you put around what you're doing. Either than that, your effort will end up actually frustrating you.
So why are people working so many long hours and yet they're not seeing the benefits or the financial money rolling in?
Long hours is not equal to financial benefits.
Really?
It's not written anywhere.
Really? Well, in other jurisdictions, if the
really?
longer you work, the more your money comes, especially because in the States they are paid per hour.
Yeah.
Yes, which is different from here.
Okay.
So shouldn't you getting maybe 20 hours work?
So let's
equal
get
to-
into it. Long hours. How many days, how many months can you go those long hours?
Maybe.
And you can keep your productivity levels and
The
efficiency
same.
level at the same
Right.
tangent.
Right.
Because you're human. And along the line, something breaks. Look, I've known people who've worked for companies for over 40 years. And they've been there, they've been faithful. Guess what? Other people keep passing them by, just getting over them. And they remain in the same area, same level, or maybe a notch here and there. So many people are working so hard, but they have no strategy. And it's very important that if you work within, whatever environment you find yourself, it's not enough just to work hard. You must have a strategy. There must be a system that is actually manning how you are applying yourself. Either than that, you do all the donkey works for as many years as possible, but the rewards will not show for it.
All right. Reverend, let's talk about the differences between effort, strategy, and systems so that at least we can streamline how we're going to start working hard and get the maximum benefit from that.
Effort is activity.
Okay.
Everything you are doing. So when we talk about the fact that you can have effort, but without a strategy, you frustrate yourself.
Okay.
Let's typically use an example where you've been given a land to cultivate, right? You have the energy. So guess what? You pulled in. You just want to make things happen. While you are at it, there is a better way to do what you are doing. If today you have a 3-acre land to cultivate, and in your mind, you are thinking of getting 12 guys into the field to actually get it prepared for your seed to come into the land, you might end up spending about a month and over before you can clear that land. And by the time you finish midway, whatever you might have done behind you is also growing back up. They won't be waiting for you. Now, strategy means that I need to get this done. But I have a plan that within a week, I must actually get my processes going. So now what do you do? What do I bring in to let me achieve the best as quickly as possible in order for me to get ahead? Let me make this more practical. So Eno works for CTTV. Eno's intention is to work so hard. And she hopes that management will take note of that. They will recognize her, probably promote her, and give her the opportunity to actually climb up. Along the line, opportunities come up, but there are prerequisites that allows you at certain levels within the organization. So it means that while you're working hard, you must have a strategy to be a very competent candidate that fills in that role.
Right.
This is why people would be at work, but they will still have a strategy of how to improve themselves, go through schooling, pick on a degree, pick on a master's program. What they are doing is building their capacity in order to fit into a strategy so that they can become, if you like, ready for when the opportunity knocks the door.
Right.
But if you think just hard work is enough, you're missing something. This is why having a strategy, and by that, having a system you take yourself through. System means that you're putting the things in place that makes you deny some things and go after others. And anytime I've seen people really wanted to put in the work, they are not going for the parties. They want to make time to rest a bit because by tomorrow morning, they are back in class before they are going back to work. After work, they are back in class. And they give themselves time frames for which to achieve certain things and be successful at what they want to do. Effort alone
It's not enough.
is not enough. Hard work alone will not get you there. If you continue what you're doing at the tangent to which you're doing, right, without wanting to improve, today, at the advent of AI, a lot of it is changing in the spectrum of the law. It's changing in media. It's changing in agriculture. So many different areas. Then Eno decides, you know what, I'm a media person. I love what I do. I think I'm an expert in what I do. But I've been so good at it and competent at it that I don't want to add anything else. I give you 2 years. You'll be obsolete.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, even your gadgets will change. Even the the way, the formats of your will change. Today, what you're doing, we can get an AI assistant to actually do that. The questions you're asking. So what else do you actually add to the game that gives you the urge to be the one championing the conversation? Today, camera angles are being fed, all right, totally by AI. I can sit in my room and have an entire script, camera angles, tones, and so many things in directing and producing a show done. Within 30 minutes, I can come up with an entire plan for production. That covers an entire season. So if you're not improving yourself, hard work alone is not enough.
Reverend, then how do you scale up?
Thank you. So then the conversation comes. Look, I think that it's very important that people pay attention. And I'm shouting this not because, maybe I've found something to eat today. No. But I feel that we're at the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
People must start really drawing some very critical conversations, getting themselves into certain rooms, hearing some voices on certain things that will change the tangent of the decisions they're about to make in the next 12 months. And it's very important that how you start will determine how you end. The kind of things you invest or you put in today, into your relationship, into all the various things. And I'm glad. I mean, this is Breakfast Sunday, and we're having conversations about hard work. Look, even in your relationships, if you think hard work alone, love alone is enough, you will miss it somewhere. Because today, along the line, how I feel about you will change. The way I think about things will change. My taste and preferences will change. Because immediately certain things begin to change in the dynamics of my ecosystem, then my taste and preferences will come along. And if I don't have any strategy in which I'm approaching life, that is where it is important that get into certain rooms where certain conversations are being had. You see, what you hear determines what you pursue. Something you hear will determine what you start going after. It will actually, influence your focus, right? One day I heard a story about the guy called Usain Bolt. They were at PE, running around. The PE master got closer and said, I like the way you run. I think you can be a very good athlete if you put yourself to the work.
That was all
Jokingly played around, To cut a long story short, the rest is history.
Yeah.
Something you hear would determine something else you pursue. That is why getting yourself into certain rooms, especially at the beginning of the year, matters a lot. Look, people are going for workshops, conferences, trying to pick ideas, trying to find out. We have a new government in place with so many policies they're trying to implement. And a lot of people are not even paying attention where they can plug in. And this is why it's important that sometimes you go into certain rooms, get into certain environments where some things are being released so that you can be able to get yourself in the right direction. Because you can still apply the effort, but in the wrong direction. You can still do all the hard work, but doing it in the wrong way. And when these things are there, then you know that your hard work is not enough. You may just need to apply a little more in the right direction, and it gets you the results. So if you are looking for those promotions, then you need to start paying attention to what are the things I need to do? What skills do I need to develop? How many years do I have? What do I need to add to my competencies to make me rise up 5 years down the line to become the GM of BBC? You never know.
I like that. You mentioned skills.
Yep.
I was going to ask how important developing skills is in this economy.
And no, it's very critical. It's very, very critical. Today, if you're not learning digital skills, you have a problem. As someone who manages knowledge and work with knowledge a lot, I see it as a challenge, that I'm not paying attention to digital skills a lot, like I would have loved to. There's so much opportunity. Look, you're working here for a while, right? A couple of years. Someone switches a camera on and talks about a digital product. Give them 3 months. You know what you are earning, right? In a
Yeah.
month,
Yeah.
they could do it in a day.
Yeah.
At least I know 3 people who can easily, just by understanding what skills are required in the next 10 years. See, if we don't improve our capacity, a lot of us will become irrelevant and obsolete in some few years. If we don't increase our capacity, there is constantly a better way to do what we are doing. So acquiring skills are very important. Some knowledge sets in certain areas are very critical. And this is why this conversation of letting people, all right, aware that, look, hard work alone is not enough. You must be able to look at improving yourself.
And with the digital skills, it cuts across all areas and sectors of our life.
Every
Great
area.
Media, like every area.
Every area. Every area. As a trainer, it's become so important that, look, I've started in many trainings,
Right.
and it's, death by PowerPoint. Today, no. There are so many ways to run training. There are platforms by which you can actually get the training to be interactive, even if you want to use PowerPoint. So many different ways that by the time you are running through the workshop, you can actually have actual data analyzed on your screens. That is talking about how people are understanding and relating to the information you are sharing. Look, the world has gone way ahead of us, and there is so much that we need to do to play catch up. But I'm telling you, if we hang out where we are and just want to approach things the way it is, no. And just remember that going in the right direction will determine the rewards that you're talking about.
Reverend, all of this begins, I believe, with a mindset,
Yep.
shift.
Yep.
How do we get our mind? Because sometimes you're comfortable in where you are. Yes, you want to advance, but the willpower is not there. So you need a kick or something. How do you get that mindset shift? Or how do you prompt yourself that?
See,
I can't sit here forever. I need to advance.
perception is everything.
Right.
I think I heard Apostle Joshua Selman said one day that you can never rise above the accuracy of your perception. The way you perceive things will determine how you move towards various things. In the Bible, there's a short story about how a wise person sees danger, right, and takes precautions. But a simple thing, someone who is just simple will walk towards it and pay the penalty for it. You see, it's all predicated on how they perceive that problem, that danger. Someone sees danger, someone does not. When you understand that, look, I need to be able to have a better understanding of my approach in life. Right now, it's about career, it's about your relationship, it's about marriage, and how you intend to go in that direction. Then your mindset would have to be able to shift if you intend to see different results. Look, talking about mindset shift, it is important for people to understand that if you want growth, there are things you do to grow, but the question is, in what area? Yeah. Is it about career? Is it about health? Is it your finances? Because if you want to grow your finances, there are definite structures you put yourself in. If by now you are 35 and you still cannot keep money in your account, and your mind is you spend and you save what is left, then you have a problem. Because the mindset for growing wealth is that you must be able to save and spend what is left.
Yeah.
So many people struggle with that.
True.
And the truth is, you have so much and so many demands that you can never save anything if you want to keep spending to actually kill all your bills. So it becomes very important that, look, there are certain disciplines you need to introduce into what you're doing. And this is where structure and systems comes to play. What do you do when you first get paid? A lot of people have a different appetite the day the pay hits their account.
Oh, yeah.
The feeling is different.
Oh, yeah.
The appetite is different.
Definitely.
They think pizza, they think this, they think... That is a consumer mindset.
Right.
And look, it's funny what people do at Christmas. It's funny the extent to which people can actually spend even what they don't have because it's Christmas. But the question is, why? What is it about Christmas that
you must overspend. Why? And if you don't have a structure around what you are doing, I can promise you we'll come back 15 days later. We're in January. You know January has 72 days.
Yeah.
And if you're not careful, by week 1, you're already panting like a pregnant fish in water. You're panting for
I like the laughter in the studio because people can agree with the 72 days in
Oh, yeah,
January.
yeah. January is not a straight month. 72 good days. And for those that are listening, look, this is just day 3. We're still going.
Reverend Bernie, on that note, how can we move from survival mode to growth mode?
Okay.
Yeah.
So first, I will always say that have information, right? It is very important to understand in what direction do you want to grow? What are the areas? And when I spoke earlier on about the fact that there are certain rooms where certain conversations happen, be in those rooms. See, people can trigger you in a certain direction. It changes everything for you. I sat in a room, heard some very great people talk about some things around investments. My mind shifted about spending at Christmas. My mind shifted about spending and even changing the way I motivate my children. Because at first, I thought it was great that, look, if I had to get my kids to be entrepreneurial, when they do things for me, I give them. So polish the shoe, I give you 5 cedis. Do this, I give you 10 cedis. But I realized that, no, it was wrong. Because I'm not teaching them to serve. And service is one of the skills and attitude you must have if you want to succeed today. It's a soft skill. A lot of people don't know how to assist people. A lot of people don't know how to serve. They always want to do things for you with expectations of you giving something back to them. If you do something for me and I pay you, I owe you nothing.
Yeah.
But I can change your life and do something bigger for you than that 100 cedis I paid you. And it comes through having the attitude for service. So I have done things for people when they say, oh, take it. I said, no. I find it an honor that I can actually offer an assistance. So anytime you need my help, please call me. What I have done is currency, is leverage. But if I see the carrot, it's money. And those are the mindset shifts that helps you in that process. Either than that, you will miss a lot of big things in life. And for those of you who meet big people, you need to know how to play that game. All right? So get into the rooms. Then more importantly, learn the things. Look, I know there are a lot of things that are happening this January, a lot of workshops. People are doing goal setting, what. There is one that I know is coming up, I'm involved in. It's called Takeoff. You know, getting yourself into the right space with clarity and precision of how you can be able to enter into your year properly, you know, so that you are not losing steam by March. A lot of people start, yeah, this year, they ask for this year, ask for this year. By March, they lose steam and they look confused.
Yeah.
But have structure.
Okay.
And you see, when you start without structure, then you end up actually with frustration. And January is a construction site. It's not a party. So use your January to do those things, and it will help you to have clarity for how the year would go.
Reverend, if someone is watching us and they're stuck, what is one practical way that they can kickstart their life in general?
Oh, growth, kickstart.
Yeah.
Look,
One practical step.
one thing that you can do is have a clearer view of what you intend to do for a particular period. Maybe 1 year is too long.
Okay.
So give yourself the first quarter. See, goals are very important, but goals that are written down and they are visible becomes very, very important because it begins to work on your mind. Every time when you wake up, you can see, ooh. So for example, let's say I want to lose weight. I want to be skinny, you know? And I said, I want to be at this weight by this time of the year, right? 75 kg. Let's say by June. Then I wake up. When I pick the pizza, I see it. When I pick the shawarma, I see it. When I find a bowl of fufu with 8 proteins, expedition to the animal's kingdom, I see it. And constantly it's reminding me. And so have the goal. But more importantly, build the discipline not motivation, because discipline is more important than motivation. Your motivation will fade off with one debt on your system, but discipline will keep you going no matter what. So pick one thing and have the discipline to stick to it no matter what. I tell you, that will put you on the path of growth.
So sometimes there's the clutter on which particular goal you should pick. How do you make sure that this goal is for me and that I can achieve it by that first quarter?
This is where, one, talking to people who understand how to guide you through it matters.
Okay.
You know, speaking to coaches, see, there is nothing you and I are going to do that is new under the sun. There are people that have gone ahead of us, right? There may be camera people in your studio today who have no plans for the year. For them, it's about wake up, come to work, and go back home, have some food, watch TV, go to sleep, wake up in the morning. So they're actually in the rat race. This is what has been the pattern for their years for the past 4 or 5 years. There's nothing they're pursuing. One goal would change everything for you. Someone will spend money at funerals and everything. Then he was given a land. And then he makes up in mind, you know what? I'm tired of renting. This year, I want to put something on there. Suddenly, that goal to say, I want to build, changes everything. Now, when they are putting money to go and buy, Charlie, let's go to Cheesy Pizza. Let's grab, like, Charlie, 200 and something CDs can buy me some blocks. Charlie, you know what? I'm cool.
Right.
One goal. So have the goal and the discipline to keep to it. Even without talking to anyone, if you can set that goal. Remember, when your heart decides a destination, go. Your mind will start building the map to get you there.
Reverend, if hard work opens the door, what keeps the door open? Is it faith, wisdom, or system?
System has wisdom in it. Because when you have a system, I'm telling you, look, you are an example. What time do you come to work? What time do you have to be, for your early morning show? Because of that, what time do you wake up? What time do you sleep? You've created a system for yourself.
Right.
When a friend comes and says, I'm coming, let's do Netflix and chill till 3 a.m.
No.
Nah. So because of that system you've created for yourself, you understand. And no becomes an easy thing.
Right.
So saying no to people is, look, I got to get myself into this place. And because of that, I need to work myself backwards to achieve it. And this is why systems are the best for you.
Reverend Bernie Osadia, always a pleasure to have you in studio. Thank you so much. If you haven't learned anything today, pick one goal. Give yourself the first quarter and make sure that you stick to it, the discipline to stick to that particular goal.
Yep.
And then see yourself shine through, at least for the first quarter. And remember, January has 72 days. So that's Reverend Bernie Osadia. I hope you learned something. I learned something. And we'll be right back after this. Don't go away.
As the days come and go, there's always shit. Let colleagues explore all the planetary bodies. Our mission is in Uranus to treat hemorrhoids, anal fistula, anal fissure, anal incontinence, hidradenitis suppurativa, using laser ligature for pain-free and speedy recovery. On Uranus Street, Accra, is Mintuba Hospital and Coloproctology Center. Trust Uranus with us and we will delight you. Visit Mintuba Hospital today or call us on 0244 581 541.
Welcome to The Point of View. This is your favorite current affairs show here on Channel 1 Television. On The Point of View, we pick the right topics, get the right guests, and ask them relevant questions on issues that matter to you.
With the complexities of the issues happening around us on a daily basis, it's the hard-hitting conversations and the probing questions of the point of view.
So what is the Public Account Committee's job?
So what we do is to scrutinize, clarify, and find out why certain infractions have been made.
What do these IMF programs try to do?
The current program is for budget support.
Okay.
There are no projects attached.
That teases apart the twisted entanglements of politics and governance, as well as religious and social discourse. The Point of View brings you the policymakers and duty bearers and drills down to the very bottom of issue.
What authority do you have?
The Point of View airs every Monday and Wednesday at 9 p.m. only on Channel 1 TV. In a world filled with challenges, we all need guidance, hope, and a lifeline to anchor us.
This is Lifeline, and I'm your host, Fred Crunchy Mensah.
From social issues, relationship challenges, and family matters, Lifeline is here to inspire, uplift, and guide you on your journey.
Where we give you support, where we hold your hand through the valley and through the thick and thins of life.
Join Bishop Fred Crunchy Mensah.
I welcome you especially to Lifeline.
Every Tuesday and Thursday at 10 p.m. right here on Channel 1 TV. Let's walk this path together, strengthen our faith, our families, and our lives. Lifeline, because every soul deserves a guiding light. Tune in to Lifeline on Channel 1 TV and let's grow together.
Welcome back. This is Sunday Breakfast right here on Channel 1 TV. You just witnessed my colleague Eno Safo in an engaging conversation with Reverend Osei Benny, talking about hard work, why it pays and why sometimes it doesn't, right? And how to find a balance in between. Of course, we move on the conversation. It's now time for a health conversation. We'll be continuing our cervical cancer series. Dr. Kalsum Adam is in studio with us. She is a public health advocate and also a maxillofacial surgeon. She's been taking us through a series, and it's time for, a practical, conversation on all that we've been doing for the month of January on cervical cancer. Doc, good morning and welcome to Sunday Breakfast.
Good morning.
How's your week been?
Oh, tiring, but then I can't complain.
I saw you were in Formina.
Yes.
How was Formina?
Formina is beautiful.
Really?
Yeah, very beautiful, especially the Dancy North
area.
The hospital
Okay.
that we went to. And you wonder if it's in Ashanti region, actually.
Hey,
yeah.
no.
Because the greens
I'm offended on behalf of Edo Safo. But we'll let it slide. And we'll let it slide. We'll let it slide. It looks
so
nicer
beautiful.
than you thought.
Nicer than in fact, if they are able to maintain the greenery and then also the facilities, I'm sure.
Is it a
will be
hospital or
wonderful.
the whole area?
No, the hospital.
The hospital.
We're within the hospital, yes.
Okay.
The area
if you let it slide, it's fine.
it looks mountainous and very serene as well. So I think basically the hospital itself in the area are all good
Is it a new
places to
hospital?
go.
Is that
Yes,
Agenda
it is.
111 hospital?
It's actually a new hospital. They turned just 2 years, just some few.
Oh, then I'm probably sure it's
Yes.
part of the Agenda 111
Yes, likely.
hospital.
Yeah,
But have any
likely
of them
they do.
been constructed, like completed?
This government says no, MPP say yes. The truth is somewhere in the middle. We don't know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
So we were in Formina, and the reason was for the national launch by the Medical Women Association of Ghana to mark the activities, the month-long activities for cervical cancer awareness and then screening as well. So Ashanti region this time round did the launch
where we had the Queen Mother and other dignitaries come on board to hear about cervical cancer, to also add their voices to the advocacy so that women out there come in their numbers to be part of the screening. Actually, on that day before we left off, we had close to about 50 ladies having their screening, and most of them were first-timers.
Wow.
You get it, yes, and most of them were first-timers. So it's going a long way. Once the launch has been done, the next thing would be still with this advocacy and having to do the screenings, which is the VIA, at various selected hospitals across the country, and proudly supported by Lexta Ghana, producers of YAS. And they have been in this collaboration with us for quite a number of years now. And at least for every part that you buy, for every YAS part that you buy, one peswa, see how small, one peswa goes into all of these advocacies that we are able to do, and then the free screenings that the group is able to do for the good people of Ghana. So yes, the screening was done, and the importance of cervical cancer again was emphasized during the launch. And we expect that at least each region would have at least 100 people, 100 free screenings done for their ladies to be able to get. And it's interesting because we always say cervical cancer, but I'm sure even at the launch, I noticed that people, we talk about it, we try to raise awareness about cervical cancer, but people still think it's very far away from them. Yes, because we always use the global numbers. We say that, okay, according to GlobalCan in 2022, the incidence is about 3,072, okay? And out of that, you have about 1817 and ending up, or 1,817 losing their lives, okay? I think that maybe when we talk about what really happens, you notice that it's very close to you. You notice that cervical cancer is not far away from you. And these are just figures that have been reported in the hospital. So imagine the numbers that have not been reported in the hospitals. And one of the things that stuck with me is that if you do take practically, if you do take people who present with cervical cancer, let's say 10, 9 out of them will not live past 3 years.
Wow.
You get it. So maybe when we talk about it, looking at local statistics, people would be
put the fear of God in them.
Exactly. And also the fact that it's a preventable cancer, highly preventable cancer. And if you are able to go through the screening schedules that is there for you to go through it, you should be able to catch this early. We don't want people coming with symptoms. And out of the 10 that I mentioned, 10 and then 9 people not surviving go past 3 years. We are talking about what people who have presented with symptoms. And these people who have presented with symptoms means that the cancer is already established. And the cancer is spreading, you get it. But if you are able to do these screenings early, you would be able to catch the changes, the infection, even before it becomes cancer, which is very important. So maybe we'll just go directly to the practical aspect of it. So help people know that, oh, you can just walk in and have a screening done without any problems at all. So the first thing I would want to speak about is there any preparation towards the screening? Okay, so all you need is that for you to be able to have the pap smear done, you shouldn't be in your menses at the time of the whole screening process. Okay, so that you don't have anything there to obscure the cervix, and then also the blood will not obscure the vision of the operator. Okay, so you shouldn't be in your menses. Aside that, please do not use any medicines there for at least 48 hours prior to the whole procedure, okay? And people who end up using other creams or even douching, which is not even advisable in the first place. Please do not do any of these things before you have your screening done, so that it doesn't end up giving false positives for any of these. So there are different types of screening. We have the VIA. VIA means visual inspection with acetic acid, okay? And then we have the pap smear. And then we also have looking for the HPV DNA itself within, because remember we mentioned that about greater than 95% of cervical cancer is by the HPV virus, okay? So first of all, when you go, once you have prepared, the next thing is that you would be, so this, let's assume this is a patient, okay? So this is a patient with the legs, so with lying on her back, okay, with the hips flexed and then also the knees flexed, so that you would be able to give enough access to the operator for the cervix. Remember we mentioned that the cervix is not outward, it is hidden within the vagina. It protrudes within the vagina and it's hidden there. So you need to, so assuming this is the vulva, okay, and then the cervix is down there, you have your vagina also down there. So let's assume this is our speculum that we need to put in. And the speculum, what it does, it separates the anterior wall from the posterior wall of the vagina, okay? So first of all, you just want to moisturize it a little bit with even some plain water, and then you slide it in, okay? Slide it in. There's usually something here for you to be able to tighten it. Once you tighten it, you are able to have access, you have been able to open up the vagina for you to see the cervix in there, okay, which is the mouth to the womb, or holds the mouth of the womb or the uterus. So when we open in there, what do we see? Okay, so I'll use this as an example. So this is your uterus, this is the whole thing. So if you take a cross section, that's what you see in the background of this conversation. So you would see the cervix. So this is something that you are going to, something like this, okay? With the shiny surface, the surface is smooth with a tiny hole there, which we call the external os, with the internal one being inside, which you can't see. So this is what you are going to see when you look. So first of all, when you expose with a speculum, you want to observe, you want to check, are there any growths? How does it look? Does it look healthy? Does it look unhealthy? What does the color look like? Okay, so that's the first observation with good light. Then if you want to go ahead and do the VIA, what you do is that you need to dab the surface of the surface area here that you see with acetic acid. So acetic acid is like vinegar, okay? So you would dab the area and then you just wait for a few minutes, about 3 minutes to 5 minutes. Now, after waiting for these number of minutes, if there is any dysplastic change in the cervix, you see that that area would turn white. So we call it aceto-white changes in the cervix. So why does it actually turn white? The reason is that when we say that there are changes or dysplastic changes, it means that the cells there are dividing uncontrollably. And these cells have nuclear material, they have a lot of proteins, they are trying to divide and then grow. But the acetic acid or the vinegar has the ability to be able to show that and then denature the proteins, because there'll be a lot of proteins in the cells that are dividing. So it will show that denatured protein there. So if you visualize, you see that, okay, there's a white patch somewhere, and that aceto-white change is there. So what do? You go ahead and treat it.
Okay.
So we call it screen and treat, which is the VIA. It affords you that ability to screen, at the same time you treat there and then. So what are you going to do? You ablate it. So ablative therapy. So either you use extremes of temperature. So either you use cold ice or use some heat that is controlled to be able to kill the cells there. So once you kill, yes, then. So you kill the cells there. So once you kill the cells, it means that you have killed the abnormal or the unhealthy cells there, and you would be given a review date where you would come back for a repeat of this screening. And it also affords the cervix the time to be able to recuperate, so that new cells would, new healthy cells would replace whatever diseased cells that are there. So that's the VIA. And it takes you just about, maximum I would say 10 minutes. You should be done with this VIA test. However, if it is the pap smear is the same process as we have mentioned. You expose the cervix in the same way, but then it comes with you using a swab. So either a brush, there's a brush that you will take some cells from the external, the internal, and then the surface area as well. And then you put it on a glass slide. So that glass slide will then be transported directly to the lab, and then the cells will be viewed under the microscope to be able to tell if there are changes within the cervix, the cells of the cervix that have been collected. So for the pap smear, you're going to collect some cells from the cervix, and then it is taken to the lab. It is observed under the microscope, and then you'll be given a report. So that it will take a little while for you to get a report on the findings of your cervix.
Does it hurt when they're taking the cells
Not at
for
all.
the
It is
pap smear?
very, very, I mean, painless.
Okay.
You may just feel that there's something that is rubbing around the cervix. That is all. As for the VIA, you may have a stinge, just a little stinge, discomfort because of the acetic acid that is used on the surface of the cervix.
Okay.
So it's painless. If it has to do with pain, please, ladies, come out and get it done, because it's painless. Okay. So that is what goes on when it comes to the pap smear and then the VIA. Now, the third modality of screening is you looking for the HPV DNA. Okay. So it comes with a pap smear complementary. So I'll take the cells. Now, when I take the cells, I take it to the lab. I look at it under the microscope to tell for any changes. And then also, I look out for the HPV, the presence of the HPV DNA there. So you run some PCR to be able to tell if it is there or it's not. Now, the difference between these three that I have mentioned is that for the VIA, you can do VIA PAP, you can do every 3 years, depending on your age. And then for your co-testing, that's if you are doing the pap smear and the HPV DNA, that you can do every 5 years.
Okay.
So it's not every year, or it's not as frequent, or depending on the state of your cervix, you can be recommended shorter periods. But once you have a negative test, or once you have normal findings, then you would have to do either the 3 years or the 5 years, depending on it. Now, when you open the cervix,
Doc, hold on, before you go on, you said depending on your age. So
yes. So
clarify.
from 21 to 29 years, you can do your regular pap smear every 3 years, pap or VIA.
Okay.
But once you are 30 to 65, it's recommended that aside the pap, you can do the HPV DNA testing. Very, very important. In fact, certain jurisdictions, it's recommended that after 45 or 45 and above, it's better that you don't even need to do the VIA. It's better you do the PAP or the HPV DNA testing. Okay, so those are the age-dependent modalities that you can utilize for the screening. So when I open up the cervix, this is to demonstrate the different types of findings that you may see. Okay. So just like in the picture, you can see that this particular cervix, when you look at it, it's not smooth.
Yeah.
Okay, there's some growth on the cervix. It doesn't look shiny and pink with a healthy mucosa. It looks very rough. It looks like it's even bleeding. You know, the external os has lost its shape as opposed to this one, which was healthy. So this is just to show the different stages of disease that you may find in the cervix. So this is another one. So this is another one also showing the same thing. You can see that even this one, the shape of the external os has been distorted, and there's a large growth. So this one may look very small, but then this looks very advanced disease. And once you come with this cervix, the treatment is not as simple. It takes much more extensive investigations, doing a metastatic workup to be able to stage it, and then you'll be given the needed management or treatment that is available. Okay? And then this is another one. So you can see it's a range. This is another one, and then this is another one, showing the different stages that a cervix can present. And it's interesting because people may end up coming not because they are concerned about the fact that they want to know their health. They come because of their symptoms they are experiencing. Exactly. So looking at such a cervix, you notice that if somebody is having a sexual intercourse with such a patient, the growth here, once you hit on it, is going to break off, and then you end up with the bleeding we were talking about earlier. There may be it looks infected. There may be in a foul smelly discharge coming out, and that's what will push people to come. And unfortunately, by the time they come, it may be too late to do anything curative pertaining to it. So that's why you need to come, and it doesn't just go. It takes a long while, as long as 10 years, as long as 15 years, sometimes even 20 years, depending on your immune status. You get it? So it's very, very important. Very preventable disease, but the whole thing lies in your hands, where you need to make sure that you are visiting and then having the right screening done for you depending on your age. And when you look at it, most people start being sexually active by, averagely, if you look at it in Ghana, 17 and a half years. Okay, so at that age, the moment you are sexually active, it will take you about, let's say, 2 years, 3 years, you would be exposed to the HPV, and you need to start doing your screening. If you haven't already been vaccinated, and even if you have been vaccinated, you still will need to go through the screening schedules for your age. The reason is that most people think that if they are vaccinated, that is it. But the vaccine is for particular strains of the HPV. You get it? So we know that most of the cervical cancer is caused by HPV virus infection. But you have a number of them. There are a lot of them. And also, HPV high-risk strains, HPV 16, 18, are responsible for about 70% of them. If you have 70% of them by 16 and 18, the vaccines would tackle these. But you have others that the vaccine hasn't taken care of. And even new ones are even evolving. You get it? So it's important that you need to screen. Screening is very, very important. And ladies out there need to come out and then have the screening done. So as we have demonstrated here, it is not painful. It is very, the only thing you may feel is a little discomfort during the placement of the speculum. You get it? And you don't need to do much to be ready to have the screening done. You get it? So it's very friendly. If I hope I've been able to demystify.
You have, because I was
and
looking at it from
a
discomfort point of view. And
yes.
It seems to be, but even though I'm like,
yes. So it's very important, and then you need to come out there and then have this screening done. So this is also just showing the same thing. So this is the whole womb out there. So when I open up, this is what I'm going to have it. This is what will be in view. Okay. So I see, and this whole canal down there is your vaginal canal, which has been opened up for you to be able to see.
If somebody's watching and they want to get in touch with you, probably even want to sponsor this remarkable initiative, how and where can they reach you?
Okay, so I would drop my email. They can send me an email, and definitely I should be able to reach out to them in terms of sponsorship, in terms of having to even help with any of these to get to all the hard-reach areas, to get more people to talk about cervical cancer, to get more people interested in the screening, and to get more people to demystify some of the myths
misconceptions
and misconceptions
and the stereotypes. Very
exactly.
important.
So I'm sure it can be displayed
On the screen.
so zoomkalsum@gmail.com.
Please take that. Say that.
Zoomkalsum@gmail.com.
Is it sometimes?
You can get.
Can you please spell it for us? So
okay, so Z or ZOUMKALSOUM@gmail.com.
Amazing, Doc. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
It's always a pleasure. So, guys, this particular conversation will be up on our YouTube channel, Channel One TV. Go online, subscribe, share, watch for yourself if you missed any part. Also, importantly, the Channel One News app has all of these exciting, conversations and discussions. So, you know what to do. Go on the Google Play Store and download it. It's now time to move on the conversation from health to another issue that is fast becoming a crisis, and I'm referring to the ongoing urban transportation, issues that have come up. There's a series of reports we've lined up for you. We'll have a brief discussion on it before we wrap us as well. So we'll take our first video where commuters are calling on government to work towards finding lasting solutions to the ongoing transportation crisis in parts of the capital.
The rush to beat Thursday morning traffic resulted in disappointment for hundreds of commuters in Accra. The frustration at the Teshie Mobile Junction was evident in the long queues and extended periods of waiting.
When I was coming, I get there were plenty people there. There was no car. So I've decided to take to the station here to see if I can get another car to continue to 37. Still, I'm here. I came to the roadside around 6 something. I'm still here without car. People are struggling, fighting to get a vehicle. So the challenges here is too much, Masa. It's not easy. There are people here. If you go to Nungwa there are plenty people, sea of people there looking for car. They don't get it. They don't find car. So the transport problem there, we have it. And many of the drivers, if they are going to 37, they will take to station here. Then they will, because they want more money. So when they take from Nungwa, they load from Nungwa to here. Then they will drop people here and take 37 people. So instead of paying 6 cedis to 37, you end up paying maybe getting to 10 cedis.
Actually, 5 hours be this from here to Agbogblosi. We didn't even get car right now. And people are suffering for here about car early in the morning. And traffic too is, even how it is even worry us is not easy. So I'm begging they should help us about the transport issue so that we can be getting it easier for Teshie Mobile here.
At the Nungwa Junction terminal, commuters shared similar experiences, calling on government to urgently intervene and ease the challenges associated with accessing public transport during peak hours.
Transport issue here is very difficult, very, very difficult. You come here and try to board a car, but you wait more than 15 minutes to 30 minutes before you get the car. Yes, I'm going to Sakumono here, just Estate Junction here. Sometimes see the crowd, you'll be fighting about getting the car. It's very difficult. Transportation issue here is very difficult. So I don't know if government have something to do about this, so that it will calm this situation. It's very, very difficult, especially in the morning when we are going to work. We find it difficult.
Accra Mayor Michael Nikpakpo Alote, in a reaction, has assured residents that the government is taking steps to secure additional buses, a move he says will help reduce the pressure on commuters in the coming days.
Is bringing electric buses. We are starting the first metro transport in Accra, which we are going to have a very cheaper fares. So you should pray. The mayor has a good thing to offer these people of Accra. We are bringing the first metro transport. It's electric bus, so we don't buy fuel. So with 3 CD, 4 CD, you can go wherever you want to go. And the price is going to be the same. If you pick the car from Accra to Circle, it's the same. If you pick a car from Accra to Kanesh, it will be the same. So it's something that we are going to do. We are looking at.
According to the Minister of Transport, Joseph Bukari Nikbe, the current situation stems from withdrawal of buses that were temporarily deployed during the Yuletide. He noted that a few of the buses have been redeployed to heavily affected routes to address the challenge.
We are looking at the daily basis movement and seeing if we need to add more, then we'll add more. Again, we are also at the verge of seeing how we can get the private sector to bring in more of the buses and other vehicles to be able to help when it gets to peak hours in the mornings and in the evenings. But we have called back. When we withdrew the services, we saw the tension it created, and we have called back some of the buses to start again making their movements. We are studying the ground to see whether they will need more or we will have to continue with the skeletal or the small number that we have operating for now.
Getting a car to your destination after work in Accra has often been time-consuming, highly stressful, and this has often been as a result of traffic congestion or public transport challenges. Today, the situation is no different here at La Paz, precisely the Las Palmas Junction, as several commuters have poured onto the streets in a bid to get transport to their respective destinations. Many are jostling to make way into the minivans that approach them to get on board to their respective destinations, and it's been a hectic one at that. Those who do not have that strength to struggle make sure that they stand waiting for hours before they can be able to get a vehicle that is spacious enough to accommodate them. I have some of these commuters here. I would want to approach a few of them and engage them, find out what exactly the situation is. Sir, good evening and thanks for joining us. Sir, we want to find out from you, where are you heading to and for how long have you been here?
Oh, I'm heading to Awoshi, and I went to buy some food stuff, so I'm going back home.
For how long have you been here?
Let's say 2 hours now.
2 hours?
2 hours now, because there's no car available. So I have to wait. People are struggling to get car, but still, I'm still waiting to get vehicle to my end. But yes, still.
But it's strange that you've been here for 2 hours and you're not getting vehicles. Some 30 minutes and 20 minutes, but 2 hours is quite strange.
It's too hard because where the car is going, I've not been getting car to where I'm going. That's why I've been here for a long. So I'm still waiting. If I'll get vehicle.
Is this your first time here picking a vehicle, or you come here every night?
No, I used to be coming here. For the past 2 weeks, I've been coming here.
And this has been the situation?
Today it's been so hectic. I've not been getting vehicle. That's what I'm saying. Almost 2 hours.
I'm a butcher. While some drivers take advantage of the numbers to charge extra fares, others load what is locally called short, a situation where drivers load short distance instead of loading to a straight destination. Drivers refuse to load for a single destination but make stops, thereby charging extra fares. Some passengers, however, do not have an option than to pay more to get to their destinations at the expense of their finances and budget.
You budget for the normal fare, and then you come and they are charging a little amount over there, so it affects us. Normally, you go to market, you know you have a sales, but you have to pay double before you can come home. So this also drain our pockets.
Especially Mondays and students in the cars on mobile, the Biobelu do not before the banana they are late. Especially Kwabiri East municipality, Bro
At Kenyasia Brem in the Kwabiri East municipality, the situation is dire, especially in the early morning rush hours of the weekdays. One of the students said they miss lessons and sometimes get to school during the first break period. Other students say they are made to pay gate fee for lateness and punished by their teachers in addition. The drivers, however, justified their actions.
Illegal, but the plan so in the side of the same way. Because they say, can you imagine, say, 6 o'clock or Solano for 6, or Kuruma, about 4 hours, Waba. It's over 8 Lubra, or Kokla is 6. 6 in the food, it's a own a Sikano, they are. And so it's also a short, nice 1 million quarter of Koran and now basis amount. That's what you mean.
Meanwhile, over 100 of the Ayalolo buses are parked at the STC yard at Oforikrom as transport crisis worsens in the city. The situation in the Kwabiri East municipality is similar in other areas in the Ashanti region like Daban, Ebuakwa, Asokorimampon, Ejiso, Swami, Mekro, and Tafo. The transportation struggles becomes worse during the evening rush hours where passengers and commuters do not find vehicles back to their various homes after a hard day's work.
Passengers continue to struggle to get vehicles to their various destinations. Students are the hardest hit in this situation. Passengers and the students are calling on authorities to intervene to address this concern. Hafiz Tijani, Channel 1 News, Kwabiri East Municipality, Ashanti Region.
Right, so what was initially thought to be just a problem within the capital city, we're fast witnessing that also in the second largest city, Kumasi, it's also a big issue as well. Residents there struggling to get cars to their various destinations. And of course, we've been chronicling the event here at Channel 1 and City FM. One of such persons or reporters behind the story joins us in studio, Jeffrey Fifi Annan, who, by the way, hosts Vibe Room
City 97.3 FM.
And also as part of the team, the Ghana Weekend team.
Yeah.
Fifi, always a pleasure having you. Good morning, welcome to Sunday
Good morning,
Breakfast.
Jude. Thank you for having me. I've missed both of you so much.
Same
We
here.
missed you
I
too.
can say same, you know. What were your experiences, right? I'm trying to rephrase the question properly, but what were your experiences when you went out?
So on Thursday, I was at Circle, you know, the part where the commercial vehicles lead to Nsawam, Mile 7, Pokwasi, and those areas. If you are very familiar with that route, you know that every evening there is a lot of people there waiting for vehicles to their various destinations. Even before this whole transportation crunch became a big issue in Ghana, the place has always been like that. But because of the situation now, it's even worsened, you know. I got there around 7:30, yeah. So as at 7:30, the number of people there, it was as though it was an election day. And people were queuing up to go and vote. You know how people queue up at hotspot polling stations? That is the scenery. So imagine an election day, everyone eager to go and vote at a particular hotspot polling station, because if you don't go on time, you might not be able to vote early. You get me? Yeah, so that was the situation there. There were children, old women, old men, all lined up waiting for vehicles to their various destinations. Now, one thing I noticed when I got to Circle was the presence of members of the Accra Metropolitan Assembly Task Force, trying to make sure that these drivers do not overcharge the fares, because there was a mad rush for it. Vehicles heading to Barrier, Pokwasi, that ordinarily would take, say, 8 cities, are now charging 10 cities. Some are charging 15 cities. Some even 20 cities. And you know how our system is. Sometimes you go to work with a budget. So if you spend every amount of money on you, and then you leave your 8 cities transportation, and then you get there and you are being told you need to pay extra as transportation fare, it leaves you stranded. So I spoke to quite a number of people at Circle, and then there was this particular old man whose response got me emotional. You know, he came to church. His only crime was coming to worship, and he told me he had been there for an hour. An old man.
Yeah, I remember that interview.
He had been there for an hour.
I spoke to you on CNR
yes,
that
he spoke
evening.
to me on CNR. And so the situation is that bad. And then on Friday, I went to Kaneshi. If you know Kaneshi, well, there's a place called Mamprobi right before you get to the Kaneshi market. And the story was the same. long queue, people heading to Kaswa, Liberia Camp, Mile 7. Did I say Mile 7? Apologies. Malam Junction, and all those areas, its surroundings. Same situation. I interacted with quite a number of them, and the same issue. Prices are being increased because there's a shortage of commercial vehicles to convey them to their various destinations. Some had been there for over an hour. And so, you know, there was a conversation about government coming in to mitigate the situation. So I interacted with some of them, whether there's been any government vehicles, that's the Metro Mars, the Ayalolos. Have they seen such buses there to, you know, maybe charge them lesser prices to convey them to their destination? And one woman spoke to me. She's a trader there, but she comes from Kaswa to Kaneshi every day. Now, she tells me that, she told me the Metro Mars transport buses were even charging the same price as these commercial trotro drivers were charging them, that the exorbitant prices. And so she was very infuriated that government is aware this is the situation at hand, and then you tell us you are going to come in to support us with your buses. Now these buses come and they're also charging the 10 cedis from Kaneshi to Kaswa, which ordinarily shouldn't be so. And so she was very, 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 very angry. You know, I spoke to the eyewitness team, and then later in the evening on CNR as well. So Jude, that's been the experience from all the two places I've been to so far. But for Kaneshi, there were not task force persons ensuring that drivers did not overcharge the fare that people were supposed to ordinarily pay to wherever they were going to. But for Circle, I can tell you on authority that there were task force persons there. Some conductors and drivers were even being whipped for overcharging the transportation fares. So yeah, that's the experience from both places I've been to.
Interesting. We'll go over the phone lines, right, via Zoom, and speak to
Middle Belt Bureau Chief Hafiz Tijani.
You know, we initially thought it was just an Accra problem, right? But for certain parts of Kumasi, it's also persisting. Good morning, Hafiz, and welcome to Sunday Breakfast.
Good morning, Mr. Duncan and the team.
Amazing. Can you also create a picture for us in the Ashanti region? How severe is this looming transportation crisis?
Well, so very severe in the Ashanti region. So when you go to areas like the Central Business District, that is Edum, you go to areas like the Konfanoche Teaching Hospital roundabout, you go to areas like the Abrefo Junction, you go to areas like Sufo Line, you go to areas like Swami and Macro, you go to areas like Dr. Mensa, the Kejitia areas. When people want cars or vehicles to go back to their homes after a hard day's work, it's very, very, very difficult for them. And this is just in the evening. And in the morning too, when they need these vehicles to go to their various workplaces, and school children and students going to their various schools, is very, very difficult. So you look at areas like Dabai and Pabami and those areas, you realize that in the morning they're not getting the vehicles to the their various workplaces and the Central Business District. So these are some of the densely populated areas where you find people waking up as early as 3 a.m. Just to go to work, sometimes just to beat the traffic, one, and also to relieve themselves of the stress of not finding a vehicle to their various workplaces. And this is a situation in the Ashanti region and parts of the Ashanti region. So before the Christmas and New Year festivity, we saw the KMA coming in to also enforce some of these regulations, ensuring that drivers do not charge extra fares. Some vehicles were impounded. The drivers were made to come to the assembly to sign a bond, and also they were fined. But the issue still persisted. So you realize that areas where the KMA task force are not present, drivers take advantage of the situation and they do whatever they want. And areas where you know that, so the KMA task force only are able to enforce some of these directives in the mornings and also in the afternoons. When it comes to the evening, from 6 to 8, where people are not getting vehicles from the central business district, you don't find members of the task force there. And this is just KMA. So other areas I've mentioned, so you have the Swami municipality, you don't have that being activated, the enforcement of the task force. You go to the Sofoline areas, you don't have that activated stock of the Kwadasu municipality. You go to the Abrim areas, you don't have that also activated in terms of the Kwabri East municipality. So it's just KMA. And most of these drivers, because they come from the central business district, Dr. Mensa and KGT areas, all those areas fall within KMA, and KMA is able to regulate some of these activities, impounding the vehicles, getting the drivers to find them, and you have the issue reducing. But when it's in the evening, you don't have the task force there, so the drivers just go ahead and do whatever they want.
TJ, tell me, if you've had the chance to speak to any of these drivers, and what is the reason behind overcharging?
Well, I spoke to one of the drivers in my report. He justified the actions. He said that because of the traffic situation in the morning, or usually at the peak hours, so in the evening you are experiencing so much traffic on the major streets and intersections. So they want to also take advantage of loading what is locally or commonly known as short. So they pick passengers, not taking them to the straight destination. They drop them at some junctions or areas. Then they load again to another area, then to the final destination, that is the central business district. So he mentioned that because usually the morning traffic, they are not able to beat the traffic. So they want to take advantage of this method of loading passengers to their destination so that they can at least meet their daily targets of sales. So they complain about they buying fuel, they also giving part of the money to the car owners or the vehicle owners. They also trying to do.
Seems to be having issues with TJ's connection.
Yeah.
But I think I can ask you the same question. Were you able to speak to some of the drivers? What is the reason for overcharging?
I couldn't speak to any of them. It's almost as though they know what they are doing is wrong, so they refuse to speak to you the moment you request for an interview. Let me also add that there were private vehicles that had to be turned into commercial vehicles. So vehicles that ordinarily do not operate as commercial vehicles were being used as commercial vehicles to convey people to their various destinations. I saw private cars, the Toyota Voxy that has been in the trends lately, being used as structure to convey people to their various destinations. So the situation is really bad.
Are these private vehicles charging as well?
Some are charging, some are only helping people who are stranded.
Okay.
Yeah, do you see the truck, basically a cargo truck?
Yeah, a cargo truck with people being piled into
Tachi
it.
Motor
Yeah, I saw
Station.
that.
Because there was an instance where a woman with a baby behind there was jumping onto that truck, and they were actually asked to pay, and they were willing to pay.
Yeah.
So it reinforces my point that Ghanaians don't even necessarily want free, or they don't want
to pay.
They want structure and they want organization, and that is why I disagree with people who say, well, a short-term approach to this is an individual or a private person or member of parliament even organizing buses for them. No, a short-term measure should be a properly coordinated system being led by the transport ministry. Because I'll argue that, for example, if imagine all MPs in affected constituencies say they are going to get vehicles for their constituents, you end up worsening the problem because they pick one person from one point to another and drop them there, and there are no buses there. This is what I'm referring to.
Yeah.
So, Hafiz is back on the line. We should probably engage him for more insights. But I felt that
I think this was a crowd.
a more effective short-term measure is the Transport Ministry coming together to say, this is our plan for it in the interim. Local Assembly Ministry on board, coordinating the movement of remaining buses, rather than private individuals just calling and say, bring me an empty bus. So they didn't mean that all along there was an empty bus there. And they didn't think it was necessary to put it on the streets. So I know people will praise and say, he's helping, or that individual is helping. But at the end of the day, you risk creating a bigger problem somewhere else.
That's true.
I've said that it was fantastic. The vice president, led the charge. I commend her highly for taking this up very seriously. So we know that she went to some of the stakeholders. She went to MMTD, MMT. She went to Ayalolo. She met with GAPT. She met with concerned drivers, GPRTU, and all of that. That is the kind of leadership we expected in this, not what some people have described as optics and, So I wonder how the situation will look like on Monday. But I don't know, Fifi, from what did you get a sense? Because it peaked on Thursday. Then on Friday, the meetings happened. Did you go back to check if you had reduced?
So we are hoping that Monday we'll see these buses that we were promised they will be in town. So if by Monday we do not see these buses, then it means that.
But how about Friday evening? Do you get a sense that, because we are being told that buses were on the streets?
No, Friday I didn't see buses at any of the places I was at. I didn't see any of these government buses.
Hafiz, thank you so much for joining us again. We are also being told that the MMT had quite a number of buses. Some, about 60 of them, were sent to the Ashanti region. We are being told that some of them are being recalled back to Accra. Do you have the estimates on operational state buses in the Ashanti region?
Also, we know of these Ayalolo buses that were brought in some time ago. They started operating. There were some technical issues with their operation, so the operation was put on hold. So later, they had to deploy a few of them on the roads, and a number of them, I'll say over 100 of them, have been grounded when you go to the Oforikrom STC yard where these buses are parked. A number of them are grounded, and some time ago we saw fire that gutted parts of it. We were told it was an arson, but we've not heard any reports on that again. But we have few of them plying the roads, and we have some of them in some of these areas. But sometimes the authorities also blame the passengers for refusing to use these buses, because the passengers believe that these buses take so long a time to reach their various destinations, and because of the number of people on the bus, people would drop at various intersections, and before the bus will even get to their destinations, most of them are tired, and the traffic situation. So people sometimes would prefer to pay more to even going to get aboard these buses. So they pay extra. So imagine, or just assuming that from Abrim to town in the Kwabiri East municipality is 5 cedis, and drivers are charging 7 cedis. When the bus is there, the bus is charging less than that fare, but people are not willing to go onto the bus because of the concerns that the bus takes so long. But sometimes when it gets critical, passengers don't have any option than to use the bus. But the authorities say they will still continue to ensure that these buses run within the intracity transportation system.
Interesting. Finally, before we let go of you, Hafiz, we are being told that some buses are expected in the country. In the interim, measures have been put in place to rectify this, and this is coming in from the Vice President. have you spoken to authorities in the Ashanti region? Have they made mention of any plans to ease the pressure as the new week approaches?
Well, for them, it's just the buses that are on the road that they will continue to deploy. And they have also begun engaging with some of the transport union leaders to get them to also help the situation. So for now, that is the engagement that is ongoing, I'm told. But we've not had any clear strategy the KMA is using apart from getting the buses and also getting to meet the transport owners.
Hafiz, I mean, let's veer off transport a bit. So there was a fire at Afon Kwanta yesterday. Can you bring us up to speed on the situation there as of this morning? Hafiz? Seem to have lost Hafiz again.
Anyway.
Fifi's still in studio with us.
Yes, we'll wrap up with Fifi. Fifi, and again, like, you know, well done on an incredible job covering this. You know, I saw your reports. You immersed yourself in the story. What should we expect on Monday? You know, viewers are home, they are watching. They're unsure what the situation will look like on Monday. From how you follow the issues and the assurances from, of course, those higher up in government, what are you envisioning the situation to be like on Monday?
Well, I am anticipating a seamless transportation system from Monday. If for nothing at all, at least we've seen videos of people getting into cargo trucks, people turning their private vehicles into commercial vehicles. We've seen task force persons having to lash drivers and their conductors to make sure they do not overcharge transportation fares. So after everything we've witnessed over the past week, I think from Monday we're anticipating that they do something better. If for nothing at all, these government buses should be visible, seen in town, and you know they should also charge lesser fares. They should not charge the same fare as these commercial vehicles are charging. So we'll keep our eyes on the ground, and we are hoping that they will do justice to them.
Thank you so much for your time.
Fifi. All right, Hafiz is back on the line. Hafiz, I was asking, well, on Zoom, Hafiz, I was asking you about the fire that happened at Afon Kwanta and the situation there this morning.
Well, so the victims are counting their losses. You know, this area has recorded a number of fire outbreaks. So in 2016, we had a fire at the place, and these are wooden structures that have been put up by people who are coming from the north, talk of the headquarters and also the metal scrap dealers. So when they come, they erect some of these wooden structures to serve as their abode. Then they apply their activities within the Ashanti region. And in 2016, we had a fire there and it destroyed a number of property. In 2020 also, we had another fire where scores were displaced. The NADMO came in, the fire service came in, they gave advice, and we were told by the then mayor who mentioned that they were not going to allow these people to rebuild, but within the twinkle of an eye, they rebuilt and they are still living there. And then yesterday's fire also occurred, and the fire officers say they are still investigating. But according to some of the victims, they learned that one of the people who lived there had plucked some water using a water heater and then left it unattended to, and that sparked the fire. But that is not the official cause of the fire by the Ghana National Fire Service, because they say they are still investigating this incident, and we are still waiting for the report.
All right, Hafiz, thank you very much for that. I know that you continue to follow that and bring us up to speed in subsequent shows and bulletins. Thank you so much, Middle Belt Bureau Chief Hafiz Tijani there. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we have more for you. Don't go away.
Waiting and wasting time can be very dicey. So, on Lifeline this week, we draw the line between faith and fear, patience and procrastination. If you are at that point or know someone who is at that point in life, call them to join Bishop Fred Kwanche Mensah for an enlightening episode.
You are welcome back, dear friend. This is Lifeline, and we are talking about how to wait and wait well. Am I waiting? Am I wasting time? Am I staying here not taking action because of the fear of failure? What is waiting? How can I wait well? Since it is a natural human experience and nobody can avoid it, then we have to learn how to wait. Because it is not a matter of how long I am waiting, it is a matter of how well I have waited.
Lifeline airs on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 10 p.m. only on Channel 1 TV.
Habibi, my people, welcome to Dubai. My name is Sheikh Alkal bin Maktoum. Okay, so I am Caleb, right? Caleb Kuda is my name, and this is Beyond Borders on Channel 1 Television. We are in Dubai. So join me. Let us explore the allure, the beauty, and the reality of life and living it in Dubai through the eyes and the experiences of our compatriots.
Imagine 6 people, 10 people sharing a common room together.
If you're not a na complain there in the sense, why you are share one rooms now? It doesn't smell pleasant. Or hunting no complaints now be bring to the fair no too.
Dubai is one of the most organized, highly resourced, and well-endowed countries you would find.
You've been here for 7 months.
Yes.
Without a job.
Yeah.
How is it like?
So hard.
Tell me about it.
Struggling, renting and feeding is so hard.
Every frame per second of their lives in Dubai tells a story. And we've got it all captured right here on Beyond Borders, only on Channel 1 Television. So don't get told, don't miss out. Catch these compelling stories of Ghanaians in Dubai only on Beyond Borders on Channel 1 TV.
Beyond Borders airs every Wednesday at 6:30 p.m. only on Channel 1 TV and is brought to you by Copen Hospitality.
Welcome to the Health Quarters Ghana, where medical science meets everyday life. Join Dr. Gideon Hassan and the irrepressible Clemento Suarez as they tackle health issues.
My name is Dr. Gideon Hassan. I have with me here my co-host, Clemento Suarez.
I knew how it felt anytime I started to feel the pain.
Whether it is hernia, breast cancer, cataracts, or infertility, the show brings together victims to share their real-life stories and experts to debunk myths.
If you wear cotton supporter, and they be a pampers and a benwa or bosom. So you see, instead of it being raw egg, I done it because you know.
Make a date with us every Sunday at 4 p.m. on Channel 1 TV. Don't forget to subscribe on YouTube and all social media platforms at Health Quarters Ghana.
You're welcome back to Sunday Breakfast right here on Channel 1 TV with me, Inusafo, and Jude Duncan. We're going into another health conversation, aren't we lucky? And joining us is Dr. Annie Gazy, this time not on Zoom, but in person in studio. And it's such a joy to have her back in studio with us. She's a clinical hypnotherapist and addictive behavior specialist with a psychology background. Dr. Annie, You're welcome. How
Good morning
are you?
and welcome.
It's
Good
amazing
morning.
to have
Good
you back
morning
in
to you. Good
studio.
morning, Eno. I just feel like my second home, really. It's great to be back here.
Great to have you.
Really
Great to have
to
you.
be.
Right, so we're about to have a conversation on hydration and mental health, and you can send in your questions via the WhatsApp number 0204-447-033. I see someone sent us briefly one on the coins that you asked about, Jude, earlier. Tonya from Bawa Betia, that's her name. She says, the rejection of the 20 pesos coin seems to be nationwide. Traders in Tumu and its surrounding communities in the Upper West region also reject it. So it's a nationwide thing. But you can also send in your messages 0204-447-033. We're talking hydration and mental health with Dr. Annie Gazy. Doc, when I think of mental health, I never think of drinking water or just drinking any fluid to, I don't know whether it solves it or it helps. So what do mental health and hydration have in common?
I think this is a very strange one. And
Yeah.
you're very right, because
Yeah.
when we think about mental health, what's mental health got to do with water?
Yeah.
You know, me drinking or not drinking, it's my personal business. It's got nothing to do with how much water I drink or what I take into my body. But just like everything else, the food that we eat, because it actually interrupts with our, I'm trying to break everything down, so forgive me, our neurotransmitters. You know, so chemicals in the brain that make us happy, make us sad, reward us. So if we don't get that right, obviously it's going to affect our mood, it's going to affect our behaviors.
Okay.
And sometimes people are not aware of some of these things, that when they say to us, or when doctors say to us, oh, you have to drink at least, let's say, 8 glasses of water a day. It's very important that we do that and we don't take it for granted. And I would say that 8 glasses is equivalent to about 2 liters of water. And as you can see, I've brought stuff to talk about what that means.
Yeah.
So if you look at this is a 2-liter bottle. And it's we call it the motivational drinking bottle.
Okay.
That is why you can get any water bottle, but sometimes you get a little bit demotivated when you're drinking. Or some people feel like, oh, I need to put something in water, or how much have I drank today? But with this, if you look at it every hour and it's got how much you've drunk, it goes all the way from the top. And this, when you put your water in for the day, it says, start, good morning. So it's like your bottle really speaking and communicating with you. So it says, good morning. So it says, 9 a.m., do it for yourself. So it's motivating you that you're not doing this for Annie, you're not doing it for Eno or Jude, you're doing it for you. So then it's an encouragement really to say, oh, look at what I've done so far. And then the next one is 11 o'clock. It says, keep trying. And then 1 p.m. it says, drink more. And 3 p.m., replenish energy. So by 3 p.m., you know your energy is gone up. So it goes on and on throughout. But the question that you asked me, and is in different colors. We'll talk about this later.
Okay.
But yes, it's important that we take in fluid. Even if you put, I know that some people will drink maybe a bit of sobolo with it, or ginger, or whatever. You can put something in, but make sure that obviously it is more water than whatever that you put in. If you don't drink enough, like I said before, it interferes with neurotransmitters in the brain, the chemical in the brain that keeps us going, keeps us doing what we have to do, keeps us functioning. And if that doesn't function, it affects your mood. And some people get really anxious or uptight without realizing what is actually going on. Sometimes some of the symptoms, like, you know, what do you call it? Headaches. It's like, oh, I've got headache, but what tends to happen is that headache can lead to something else. Or you wouldn't even have that symptom of the headache. But what you tend to have is you feel very anxious, you feel disorganized, you feel restless, or you can also feel very tired, very fatigued. Then there is the other aspect of the sleep deprivation, where it affects your sleep as well. So it's all linked to mental health. If you can't sleep, if you've got sleep deprivation, definitely your mental health is affected. If you're feeling weak and depressed as well, that's mental health. Anxiety, being anxious around people, anxious around work, and feeling very stressed. That's something that I didn't mention. You feel very stressed. So sometimes you just think, what is going on? I don't feel myself. Then maybe you go somewhere and somebody will give you a glass of water, but like, gosh, I feel so refreshed. What you don't realize is, I know you're nodding your head, so I'm sure it's happened to you before. Jude, has it happened to you before?
A lot of the time.
So when you drink, when you drink, suddenly you think, but there was nothing in this water, but I feel so refreshed. Because what you've actually done is therapy for yourself. You've drunk, and then you've replenished something in the brain. The chemicals are functioning properly now. So you feel calmer, you feel like, actually, I can now function. You know, when the weather is so warm and you're out there humid, and then suddenly, or maybe you're at an event, and suddenly somebody just gives you water, and you think, gosh, you made my day. That is what it's about. So the day that they've made you is actually, should I say that they've healed you in a way, your mental health is
I should
active.
be thankful for my mom. My mom's always handing me water. Like, here, drink. If you don't drink enough, then she'll hand me a bottle.
Say thank you to mommy, because she's even doing great things that she's even aware of.
For some people, it's also the inconveniences that comes with staying hydrated, right? So it will mean they would have to pee a lot, you know, so it's difficult for them to do. I don't know, talk us through how you can just psych up yourself that even though it will be inconveniencing at a point, the benefits outweigh you know, the inconvenience. I don't know how you're able to convince us on that.
No, I think,
level.
Jude, you've really hit the nail on the head, because what tends to happen is, especially when we are traveling, I do that as well. When you're traveling, you're just thinking, oh, I've got 2 hours or 3 hours. Am I going to stop everywhere? Or I'm going to go into this meeting for 3 hours. You know, I'll be going to everybody will be looking at me going into the toilet, and then, you know, because of how much I've drank. That's why I talked about pacing yourself. So let's just say, they said 8 glasses, right?
Yeah.
Okay, if I do one every hour, or even an hour and a half, it's not too bad, because that means you've got 8 hours or 9 hours to do that, but it's still within the day. So that is not too bad. And let's say if you're traveling, you have to say to yourself, maybe after an hour or whatever, if there's a stop, if there's a convenient place where you can use to ease yourself, that is good. So just pace yourself. You don't have to sit down and drink a whole liter at a go.
Exactly.
Or just drink like, what do you call it, a whole 8 glasses. No. Just pace yourself in that way. If you're in the office as well, you can do the same. And also, you know, we have to sometimes, when we talk about these things, we focus on just the adults. The children, they play out, especially in school.
Yeah.
They play outside, running around and everything. But teachers or people don't actually concentrate on the fact that, have they drunk water yet? Has this child, maybe they've even brought a water bottle, and the water bottle is a small one, you know, 500 mils or whatever, and that's what they've got for the whole day. But then, you know, if you can just stretch it. So I can understand the inconvenience. The other way that I can say is, we can use incontinent pads. People will just laugh, like sanitary towels and that, so that if you're really struggling, you can do your business in. For women, you know, if you can do your monthly cycle, whatever, using sanitary or incontinent pad, why not? Because that, you know, like Jude said, obviously your health is more important. Because if you don't drink, people sometimes, you look at somebody and they tell you their age, and you say, oh my God, you don't look your age, or whatever. And it could be just drinking lots of water, because if you dehydrate as well, your skin is affected. So it's about all these things.
Amazing.
You said 8 glasses of water. So that's the ideal amount?
That's, medically, that's what we've been advised. I'm not a medical doctor,
what
but
about
I know.
kids?
Kids as well, you've asked a good one. I think up to about 6 or so, but you just monitor it. As long as they are hydrating well. I don't want to get my figures wrong.
Okay.
But I think about 6 or so. As long as they're drinking very well, or you're making sure that they're drinking well, that is not too bad. Make sure they're drinking at least a liter or a liter and a half. But for adults, at least you have to drink 2 liters. Oh, sorry, what did I say? 2 liters. That's 8 glasses.
8 glasses.
A medium glass of water.
So, Doc, what you're telling us today is that drinking or staying hydrated improves our mental clarity.
It does.
And our focus.
Yes, and our sleep. Our sleep. It reduces our stress level as well, and help us to concentrate, help us to focus on what we're doing for the day and every day. Most of the time, people, like we all said, when you're busy working, I'm sure that if we go around today, go around the studio, go around the offices today, and we ask people, when did you last drink? Oh, I've been so busy. Maybe I had a glass of coffee this morning or tea or whatever, and that's it, really. It's not deliberate, but today is all about making people aware. Actually, January, we refer to January as a dry January. Dry January because December, people tend to drink a lot of alcohol. we really damage our body. Allow me to use that word loosely. We really damage our body in December. So January is supposed to be when we detox the body. So we keep away from caffeine, we keep away from alcohol, and we drink loads of fluid. In a way that helps you to save money as well. Because when you're drinking water, water doesn't cost as much as pumping your body. And that's when, you know, like, should I say people are broke? You know, because you bought Christmas presents, went out, did lots of cooking, did lots of outings. So the, you know, money is a bit low in January. So dry January really helps you to look after yourself. Like some people are fasting with
a lot of churches
actually exactly are fasting for the year to make sure that the year is good and all that. That's what we believe. At the same time, why not look after yourself as well, your body, by detoxing from alcohol and drinking more water? You know, I'm going to challenge people. The challenge today is that do this, and in 10 days or whatever, I'm sure I'll be back here. Or follow me on TikTok and tell me how you feel. You know, because I've done it before. It's something that I've been doing for the past 5 years or so, where in my office, I challenge people, and I also challenge other people online in that you just, let's do it together. You know, every day we can be on a platform and then chat. And people say, you know, they are able to sleep well. Maybe there's a diagnosis by the doctor, something else that has even improved because they're drinking water well. People talk about their stress level is totally gone down. People even say that they feel like they're smiling more. They've been told that they're smiling more, they're communicating more, they're calmer, you know. So why don't we, viewers, together with myself and Jude and Eno, we're going to do this together for the next 10 days. That's my challenge. Don't say that, oh, but you say dry January, but today is 18th or whatever. No, we still have about 10, few days to go. So the challenge for you and I is from today. Doesn't matter what time it is now, we're still AM, we're not PM yet. So whilst you're watching us, just go get yourself a glass of water. Well, when it's break, when it's break. don't go now, you have to listen and watch. And then, or when it's about 10 o'clock, every hour, especially if you're at home, every hour, let's drink 1 glass of water and let's see. And I think that when you open the phone lines in a week or two, people are going to feedback.
Amazing.
I love that.
I wanted us to just drift to more health-heavy stuff in relation to this conversation. And it's on, you know, I see people drink water and their water have so many things. I don't even know, like from lemon to lime. Some even have like some kind of spices. I'm not sure what it is. Some put cucumber in their water. Some even put charcoal, I'm being told.
I think recently we've gotten really colorful, haven't we?
Exactly.
Very, very
you know, I met somebody who even puts apple and says, oh, he likes the taste and the smell of it. Is it necessary?
I'll say yes and no, because the thing is, the most important thing is you're drinking fluid. I would say just go total water. But, you know, our medical experts will say, as long as you're drinking fluid and it doesn't go, if it's not tea, coffee, like got caffeine and that in it, then you're okay. But I would say that if you can actually drink your water, get your bottle of water next to you and keep sipping. Just like I'll talk about alcohol and in terms of health benefits and like you're saying, the health benefits and all of that. I'll say the same about water as well, because if I'm getting somebody to actually detox themselves and then hydrate, what I'll say is just like we've got water and this bottle on the table, when you sit, have it in front of you. It's a little reminder. Sometimes we don't realize little things, the power of doing little things. So this is here. Now, somebody drinking alcohol will not put, who enjoys drinking alcohol, is a problematic drinker, will not put their drink there. They'll be holding it. So when you hold it, you gulp it instead of you sip it. So what we tend to do is we say, make sure that wherever you sit, have a little table or something next to you. So I'll say in order for this to work, because if I see this here, I'll be tempted to pick it and drink it. If it's not there, I won't pick it. If it's alcohol, I'll say avoid it, unless you're a problematic drinker. So I'll say put it here and then just sip it, you know, because that, if you say to somebody who's drinking, stop drinking, for some people it will work. Some people, they will go into seizure and die. So I'm not going to say to somebody who is a problematic drinker, just stop drinking. What I'll do is we'll say that harm reduction, reducing the harm, reduce it gradually. So for water, some people will say, oh, I really struggle, I can't just drink that. Okay, put your ginger, your lemon, whatever you put in. But in between that, can you try and have a second bottle where you can sip? But have it in front of you, because when you have it in front of you as we are chatting, the temptation will be, that's why when you go to visit somebody as a guest or your guest coming, you give them a drink, isn't it? So whilst you're talking, you don't even realize, by the time you realize, you've consumed about 5, 6 bottles. How did you do that? Because it's in front of you. But if it's not there, you have to ask for it.
Right.
So in order to do it, just put it in front of you. Gradually you sip in. By the time you turn around, you say, oh my God, how did I drink that bottle?
Yeah.
It's all gone.
Yeah.
But through conversation or even your desk, put it next to you. So whilst you're typing, whilst you're doing your work and that, you sip and sip. By the time you realize your 2 liters is gone and you don't even know how that happened. Does that make sense?
It does.
Absolutely.
Doc, can you overdo hydration, and will that affect your mental health?
Yes, because it's funny, because I was talking to a friend of mine who's a medical doctor. What term did they use? A medical student, sorry, that was my daughter. And then she was saying, you know what, because I drink over 3 liters, and she's always saying that, Mommy, you just overhydrate. And that's dangerous for you because you start bloating and you start feeling joint pains and all sorts.
Really?
But I'm not going to go into that because I try to avoid anything that is out of my field.
Right.
But what I'll say is that you could do that as well. You could overhydrate. So just be mindful, you know, that
But
you
would
stick
that in any
within
way
your 2
affect your
liters or
mental
slightly
health?
over that. But don't drink don't be like me. I get dryness all the time, especially when the weather is so humid.
Yeah.
I tend to drink and drink and drink. I don't know why. There's something about water. I'm the kind of person that I can tell you the taste of water from different brands. Yes, and people are surprised. No, that tastes too heavy. That's light. That's sweet. How can you tell the difference? That smells, you know, because all I drink is water. So I can tell the difference.
Right.
But some people are not like that. But all I'll say is, let's try sticking to our 2 liters. I think if you go slightly over, and it's not every day, that's not too bad. But if you start drinking too much every day, then what I would advise you is, please speak to a medical advisor for more advice within that.
We now also see what a lot of people opt for, right? Soda water. I don't know if you've come across it.
Yeah.
Some even have like there's this other brand.
Tonic water.
Tonic water.
I like that because it helps. It helps to burp. It helps sometimes. You know when you get the what do you call it? Hiccups and also heartburns and that. It helps indigestion. So you've just finished eating and you feel like the food is sitting on your chest. Or sometimes you eat certain things. There are people who eat all sorts, because when I eat anything, you know, this gari and starchy stuff, I feel like the food is sitting on my chest.
Right.
So soda water helps it to go down. And it helps me. The moment I start burping, sometimes people will say, oh, but burping doesn't take a lot. For some of us, it feels like we need a medical treatment to burp. And it helps. It feels like as if gas coming out, it releases you. And I've heard that. I remember years ago, I used to have a godfather who used to do it all the time. And I used to say, why do you do that? Why do you always do this? When you get to my age, you understand. You know, he used to say that a lot. And I said, but I can't drink soda water and tonic water and that. But now I actually like it. Yeah, because it feels like it's some kind of freedom, especially after eating. You know, I used to use peppermint tea to do what he was doing. And then gradually I realized that actually soda water does that as well. So when you having heartburns or indigestion or whatever, and you drink that, it brings everything down.
What
So
about
yeah, that's the reason.
Sparkling water?
Sparkling water, that's another one. So if you don't have soda or whatever, sparkling water. And before, it's funny, I couldn't drink sparkling water. I said, this is artificial water. There's no way I'm drinking artificial water.
Fancy water for extra money.
Exactly. But now, I actually enjoy drinking it because after that, it feels, there's this release. I can't describe it. I'm sure people are watching say, yeah, me too.
Absolutely, yeah.
I get that feeling. So I get people. If you had said that a few years ago, I said, oh, no, not that water. But I'm not here to condemn any water. As long as you're drinking your fluid, it's working for you, hasn't got sugar and all stuff in, that can affect your health. I think that let's drink water. Let's hydrate for 2026. And see the changes in yourself, how you feel within yourself, your health.
Doc, some people, let's say, forget to drink water, and by the time they realize they're thirsty, I'm guessing that's not healthy.
It's not healthy. You don't only drink when you're healthy. That's why there's is important. That's why it's important that you get this, because it will remind you, look at how colorful it is.
Yeah, it is.
You know, and then I have it in different colors as well. So you can just ping me, you know, call me, whatever, text me, send message to the studio. TikTok, and then ask questions. You can get one from me easily. And I'll make sure that Jude and Eno are also using it.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, so this, if you see this big colorful thing on your desk, now I'm not saying big in a negative way, I'm just saying that it's very colorful, it's there, and you got your water, and it's motivating you, and you face it, it's facing, and it says, keep trying, come on. You know, keep trying. That means that you're not there yet.
Exactly.
Then you look at the time, and it's like it's 3 o'clock, and you're not even, something would just get you to just get it and then drink it. So we do anything. That's why these days, have you seen how water bottles are very like
very
a
nice.
different level? I don't know what to say, but they come in some that's the reason, you know, just to entice people to get them and keep fit and go out and walk and drink. And because now there are some places, especially some schools and that in certain places of the world where they compete. The kids even compete who's got the best or most colorful or whatever water bottle. Yeah, so that, get yourself something that will get you going. But I'll say get yourself a motivational bottle. And that will motivate you, because I do it.
Motivational bottle is
It was
like
the
the simplest
bottle.
way.
Yes, that made me realize that I was drinking more than enough. I didn't even know, because when you drink from just the bottle, you don't realize. But then I'll drink this, fill it up, and by evening I've drunk 2. And I thought, my God, I'm drinking 4 liters of water a day. And that scared me. I was like, I'm drinking a lot. I was okay until I got told off by someone that you're drinking too much, you shouldn't. You know, then I realized, oh, I just like water. I don't drink anything. So anyway, but yeah.
All right.
Amazing. Wow, Doc, we could go on and on and on and on, but we are always so grateful for your insights. I've seen a message here saying that sometimes you drink so much and you lose appetite for food, and even you become nauseous. Is that true? Can it happen that way?
It is, but I would say that in a way, especially if you're well, that's something that I think that we'll talk about another time, but let's say somebody who wants to lose weight, or somebody who's a binge eater, somebody who, you know, has got a bit of weight on and you want to lose it. By even drinking, it suppresses your appetite. So you can use it as an appetite suppressant. So if you think, I think that too much of everything is bad, no matter what you're doing in life or eating in life or drinking in life, too much of, so you should, you know, it's about self-discipline really. Why would I drink so much that it gets to a place where I feel nauseous? You need to be able to control that. The fact that it's water doesn't mean you have to just keep drinking until you can't control yourself.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And there's another question here for you. What is the correct approach to drinking water or feeling thirsty when eating? Do you drink while we eat, or eat after, or drink after we eat?
It's interesting. Thank you so much, whoever asked that, because there's so much debate.
That's Ben Owusu.
There's so much debate about, do I drink whilst I'm eating? And people say, well, you don't, that means that you won't be able to eat enough or whatever, so you drink after. Personally, I mean, if I have a client, because of the hypnotherapy that I do, the clinical hypnotherapy, what I say is drink water before you start, especially if, you know, because of weight and that, depending, you know, it's an individual thing. If you drink before, what it tends to happen is you don't eat too much because already you feel like half full.
Yeah.
So the medical aspect, again, I'm sorry, Mr. Wusu, I'm not going to go into that, but I would say that sometimes it's important to also drink whilst eating, because you don't want to choke. You don't want to choke on dry food and that. And then drink after. It's very important that you drink after. I would say that it's important that we measure what we drink.
Amazing.
What we're taking in. Yeah.
It's important we measure what we drink, and those are the parting words of, you can say, one of our favorites, you know, resource persons to have here on Sunday Breakfast. We are always grateful for your insights.
Thank you.
You know, thank you so much, Dr. Annie Gazy. We'll take a quick break when we are
Jude,
back.
can I just ask, can I just add just one sentence?
Please
let's make hydration our New Year, part of our New Year resolution. That this year, whatever the plan is, I'm going to lose weight, I'm going to stop drinking, I'm going to get a new job, I'm also going to try and hydrate this year.
I'm going to try and hydrate. Guys, join me on the journey. I saw a very important quote that said that sometimes people wonder and say that, oh, I'm too old to start. But this is the youngest you'll ever be, right? So this is the best time to also start that new habit, that new trait that would bring you, of course, enormous benefits. We'll take a quick break. When we are back, there's a lot more. We have sports right here on Sunday Breakfast. Don't go away.
Waiting and wasting time can be very dicey. So, on Lifeline this week, we draw the line between faith and fear, patience and procrastination. If you are at that point or know someone who's at that point in life, call them to join Bishop Fred Kwanche Mensah for an enlightening episode.
You are welcome back, dear friend. This is Lifeline, and we are talking about how to wait and wait well. Am I waiting? Am I wasting time? Am I staying here not taking action because of the fear of failure? What is waiting? How can I wait well? Since it is a natural human experience and nobody can avoid it, then we have to learn how to wait, because it is not a matter of how long I am waiting, it is a matter of how well I have waited.
Lifeline airs on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 10 p.m. only on Channel One TV.
Welcome to The Point of View. This is your favorite current affairs show here on Channel One Television. On The Point of View, we pick the right topics, get the right guests, and ask them relevant questions on issues that matter to you.
With the complexities of the issues happening around us on a daily basis, it's the hard-hitting conversations and the probing questions of The Point of View.
So what is the Public Account Committee's job?
So what we do is to scrutinize, clarify, and find out why certain infractions have been made.
What do these IMF programs try to do?
The current program is for budget support.
Okay.
There are no projects attached.
That teases apart the twisted entanglements of politics and governance, as well as religious and social discourse. The Point of View brings you the policymakers and duty bearers and drills down to the very bottom of issues.
What authority do you have?
The Point of View airs every Monday and Wednesday at 9 p.m. only on Channel One TV.
Hundreds of entries have poured in from communities all across the country, and the energy is off the charts. The quest to uncover the most deserving stories has kicked into high gear. Stay tuned for the thrilling reveal and the grand celebration of our esteemed 10 Channel One TV community legends, only on Channel One TV.
See, the way I've been suffering here. Finally, God has listened to my prayers. Let me tell you something. This interview I come to do, if you not get me, man, Ayuba already there. I did vibe as Ayuba. I want a nice looking lady. Nice one like that.
Get ready for all the shenanigans, the gossip, the gisting, and the jiving. The typical happenings at a Ghanaian pub, aka Sports.
Now listen here. Everything was sauce. Charlie, this one no suspicion. So good. That's the girl she did feel me. Hey, but just now they bring the truth. Some scene will happen for the counter back then. No, it can't be. I'm here with these guys trying to prepare a surprise proposal party for you. And you are here chilling with this guy.
Don't miss this fun and engaging TV series, Junction 5, on Wednesday at 7:30 p.m. only on Channel One TV.
Welcome back. This is Sunday Breakfast right here on Channel 1 TV. It's now time for sports. You are the final lap of the show. Exciting conversations all through. We'll wrap it up with a sports segment. And Bernard Abekwatri is in studio. Bernard, no, what's up? I'm okay. I'm doing well, by the grace of God. And yesterday your team won.
Manchester United.
Yeah, and Eno's team drew.
How are you doing?
Charlie, we true. I mean, I'm tired though. Oh, but yeah, but I'm fine. I mean, I have no choice.
You can't be tired. You've not seen anything
I'm
yet.
fine. I'm fine. At least we're better than Chelsea.
That's not true.
Really?
No, it's not true. We won yesterday. Liverpool in their last 9 games have drawn like 4. They've drawn against Burnley.
Where are you on the league
No,
table?
I'll do that for him.
Where are you on the league
I'll
table?
do that for him.
Where are you on the league table?
I'm world champion.
Where are you on the league table?
I'm world champion.
You are
I'm world champion.
So Liverpool is 4th, and Chelsea.
Go down, further down.
Said with 34 points, United is on top of Chelsea.
It doesn't mean anything.
I don't even understand why you're bringing yourself this morning. Are we serious in this?
It doesn't mean that the league will end. It doesn't mean it will end this way.
Oh, it definitely will.
We are only 22 games into the season.
Okay. Where are you now is what matters.
There's about 16 games to go. So you have to relax.
There's no guarantee you're going to win all the 16 games, though.
But there's no guarantee United also win all the 16 games.
He hasn't said anything. He understands. We understand it perfectly. We're all not on top to be fighting.
Whatever that's happened is manager bounce, new manager bounce.
Thank you very much.
And the boys are trying to prove something that everyone can.
I don't understand why you're trying to fight this fight. We are all down. You get it.
So that's it.
All right, let's start with our continent.
AFCON, yeah.
Nigeria clinched 3rd place.
Yeah.
Are they happy with that?
I think they should be happy. This is their 17th time on the podium. I've been at this stage for about 9 times. I've been runner-ups 5 times and won the trophy itself 3 times. So I think they should be happy. There were niggling issues that affected their campaign.
Right.
Issues of bonuses, issues of ego clash and all of that. It really had a pull and it didn't help. Even though the coach was strong, he wanted to manage issues behind closed doors. I think it affected their campaign. The reason behind they placed in 3rd, in the 2025 AFCON, because they had one of the promising teams. They have 2 players who have won the African biggest accolade. So I mean, it started right before the competition though, where their captain decided to resign, to retire and leave the team. But they picked motivation from that. I mean, Ako was also in fantastic form. They had a crop of the goalkeeper. You might question him, but at one point in an interview, he was asked whether he was going to leave South Africa, and he just answered and said, "Look, let's see what happens," and then he left. I feel he feels he had given a good performance. Even yesterday's in the shootout, was able to save a couple, and he saved Nigeria also prior to getting to the 3rd stage against the host nations. But it didn't just happen. It's a bit of luck and discipline, staying disciplined and concentrating, on the trophy. They knew they were coming into the competition to win it, but all of these affected their campaign, and I feel it's deserving where they placed. It's okay. It's just okay because of the plenty issues that happened, how they decided to stay strong and get to this far, because they were super close. They had a proper campaign in the group stage, winning their games in that phase. But it's just unfortunate to come this far and not be able to get super close to the trophy. It's still fine. But I think one of the topics that has been echoing in the last 24 is the fact that Mo Salah, your player for Liverpool, is one of the greatest players in Africa. But people are questioning, is he really one of the greatest? Because he didn't win, he didn't place 3rd. There was no laurel, and there are questions. But look, it does not only lie with your country, it lies also with your club side and what you've done globally to recognize as a superstar. Okay, I mean, yeah, all his team effort, but even if you look at his individual awards at club level, and also with this national, he's carried the team along with his leadership qualities as well. You know, staying consistent in the foreign front, winning the Champions League, winning the Premier League, after how many years for Liverpool? And for an African player to be the current best player in the Premier League, I mean, in the just ended campaign, you know, because this campaign is still on, it's excellent to sell him to that level. I feel he's still in that bracket as one of the greatest.
Would this be his last AFCON? Do you think it'll be his last AFCON?
I fear this. No, this might not be his last AFCON, because before we go on the 4-year chain, we're going to have AFCON again and again. You know, not in 2 years forward, but in the next year and the next year. You know, so I have a feel that it's going to be. Oh, we are in 2026.
Yes.
So we're going to have 2026. We're going to have 2027 before it turns from 2028 to that 4-year cycle.
Okay.
So I feel he's going to show up again in the 2 campaigns, because it's super close, because of his experience. Egypt is a country that respects Salah and his experience as well.
Okay.
They've shown that in their goalkeeper, in some of the renowned players that's played for Egypt. So yeah, he'll be at the AFCON again.
Okay. Yeah. Still on the AFCON, the final is tomorrow? Or today?
Today is Sunday. It's today.
Sunday, yes.
It's today, later on in the day. And there'll be, first off, live commentary on radio through our partners, the BBC. So we'll be on radio from 2 for Republic of Football, analyze a lot of details down to commentary to wrap up the AFCON. I feel I'm in for Sadio Mane. Look, I feel he's done a lot for Senegal to be able to get to this level and to want to win it. I feel he deserves it. No disrespect to Morocco, the host nation. They put in a nice tournament. I feel we started questioning the funds going into the stadium in numbers to support. But CAF has stated that this is one of the most sponsored AFCON. Yeah. It has had double numbers, somewhere within the range of 21. You know, so a lot of partners coming on board means there's something good happening. You know, because they are seeing numbers in fandom at the facilities. They are seeing good organization at the tournament. They are seeing competition on the field of play. They are seeing proper tactics that's selling. They are also realizing that there's now more money in the AFCON. So you know, there are lots of factors that has come to bear, you know, for us to see this competition grow to this level. At one point, it was just seven. The Cameroon edition had 7 partners getting involved. It only went up a little in Ivory Coast, but this number is crazy, it's unprecedented. So going forward, Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania, I feel it's going to be fantastic in terms of numbers, and where it is situated also is going to pull a lot of funds. You know, Morocco, expenses-wise, traveling from the western part of Africa into the northern part of Africa, and all of those details, and other countries, eastern part of Africa and southern part of Africa, it comes with a certain cost, yeah? So I feel no disrespect to Morocco, they've done something fantastic, but coming back to Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania, I feel we're going to have a great tournament, more numbers, proper organization, because Ivory Coast lifted the bar, Morocco lifted it a notch higher, and I feel it sits in the capacity of Tanzania to make it super, super interesting. It has been a great AFCON, if you ask me. Yeah. And I know your question is going to be, who is going to win it?
Yeah. I really hope Senegal wins.
Yeah, I have a strong feel that Senegal will win it. But the host nation, the North Africans, when they get super close to tournament trophies, yeah, they have a certain behavior they exude. And it comes with a lot of antics. They are super concentrated. They know they are going to have the number 11, the number 12 behind them, the referee, the fans behind them. And it's just their job to be clinical. But they are meeting one of the organized sides in the tournament, well-structured, have experience up front, have a bit of the youthful exuberance in Nico Jackson, and they can cause an upset. I believe they can cause an upset. So we'll only see what happens, but I tip Senegal to win.
Jude?
I want Senegal to win as well. It's a matchup with two teams, with, you can say similar level of quality. Even though pound for pound, I think the Senegalese team might just edge out the Moroccans.
I agree.
Moroccans have home advantage. That should count for something. The hunger of the two appear to be Morocco because they've not won this, even though they've had a lot of successes at the youth level. So it's primed for a befitting final. I think that at the end of the day, it would be a very difficult game. But I am expecting Senegal to just thrive with, experience. Whereas,
and I want to see goals also in 90.
Exactly.
You're tired of getting to penalties.
sometimes home advantage can actually become a disadvantage. In that, there's pressure. The players are extra cautious. And if a goal is not coming very early on, the fans begin to lose steam if you're not lucky and you concede early. So the dynamics are a lot. But I think it's prime for. They are the two best teams on the continent. No two ways about that.
Do you know who the referee for this game is?
Oh no, I'd have to check it.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, I'd have to check it.
Okay.
But it's not far from us, is it? So that would be Jean-Jacques Ngambo.
And he's from?
Tanzania.
Okay. I just want to know so that there won't be any...
I get you.
There won't be any contention as to he's from West Africa, he's from North Africa.
I know, right? I know. Yeah. But that will always stay, wouldn't it? Because as Africans playing against each other, and we've built rivalry
tension and all of
that among ourselves. So it's going to happen. Take it or leave it, it's going to happen.
Okay.
Latino.
Should we do some Premier League?
If we have a little time, we can. If you're
producers, director, we have a little time. We can touch on Premier League. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So, Manchester United won yesterday. I feel the manager. I say we've. I'm a United fan. We've been here before. And I recall when Ole came. I recall when Ralf Rangnick came. I recall when Jose Mourinho came. I recall when Louis van Gaal came. I recall when Carrick himself was interim. I recall when Ryan Giggs took it on the interim. Look, it has been a series of repeated errors, you ask me, from this football club. I got super excited because it was Manchester City, yesterday, and I've not seen United play a tiki-taka football in a long while. Shifting from Mbeumo to Ahmad or Fernandes, and then that return of quick play, Dogu. I've not. It's been a minute, so I was super excited yesterday. But I know it's a new manager thing, okay? And United is left with consistency to prove indeed if it's still a big club. As it sits now, I feel the club is deteriorating. I feel, yes, someone will say, but they have a new structure, a new training facility, and yeah. But if a team has a lot of problems and it is playing good football, people don't see it. Okay? So, I mean, United can, if the club becomes consistent. I read this week that Jim Ratcliffe and other executives are looking to raise a little in $2 billion to be able to raise that stadium they want to have, a biggest in their space, or, across stadia in the world. But look, United's problem is difficult to discuss.
And on that note, that's how we'll end our show. Why are they showing Juice Chelsea? Okay, that's how we end our
Chelsea is difficult to discuss too. Everybody they say, don't worry.
It's always a pleasure coming your way every weekend. We are so grateful that you joined us, and we know you will do same and continue to keep your dials right here on Channel One TV because we have so much more for you. I am Inu Safo, and I did this.
Jude Duncan, thank you so much for watching. Catch you same time next week. Bye-bye.